Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. Who am I? Who am I? I am YouTube's bad girl and your favorite devil's advocate, Jen. Don't forget, you can reach me on all social media platforms, On the Block with Jen, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, and at Gmail. I am also On the Block with Jen. Guess where? You guys know what I'm going to say. I am also Cash App. On the Block with Jen, Cash App. If you're catching a replay and you want to support the show, you can't do a super chat because Mama's no longer here live. Hit me at the Cash App On the Block with Jen. With that said, I want to thank very much Dr. Tiffany Dotson, who gave me a Cash App surprise while I wasn't even on air. So salute to you, madam. Thank you so much for your support, even when I wasn't on. I told you guys, those are my favorite Cash Apps when I'm asleep or when I'm doing laundry or when I'm doing my dishes and I get a bling, bling, bling on my phone and it's a Cash App because someone saw the replay of my show and they appreciated the content and they appreciated my panel. So salute to you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tiffany Dotson, and anyone else who super chats me and sends me Cash Apps. Because believe it or not, Mama has to keep the church lights on. This costs money, believe it or not. Believe it or not, this costs money to bring to you. So I'm glad that you are enjoying the content. I'm glad that you are here on Saturday night. Tonight, we're going to kind of freestyle. If you guys noticed, I didn't announce a show and I didn't do a thumbnail either. My battery is low. If you guys lose me, I will run upstairs and get my charger. So hang tight, okay? We're going to freestyle it tonight. I'm going to drop my link real quick to see if my people can come up while I run upstairs and grab my charger. Hopefully I will not get shut down before I'm able to run upstairs and grab my charger. I got some stuff to talk to you about tonight anyway, even though I don't have a main topic, although I do want to get into what you see there, which would you pay $9,000 for the Beyonce Renaissance Tour tickets? Yes, the highest price tickets for the floor, right, are $9,000. Of course, they're like $880 something dollars, rounded out taxes and all that's $9,000. Would you pay $9,000 to go watch a BBL, bloated, yodeling, hopping up and down for an hour and a half Beyonce? Would you pay $9,000 to see that? I don't know. We'll discuss it. She's not the only one charging ridiculous prices for her tickets. You got Bruno Mars, you got Bad Bunny. You know, those tickets, they're getting crazy. And I want to know why. Does anyone watching out there know anything about concerts or pop stars or inflation? Why are these tickets $3,000 to $9,000? Somebody explain it to me. And don't tell me inflation, okay? Don't tell me inflation. None of these celebrities are on there popping smoke out their ass. It's the same old microphones and singers and background dancers. And I hear background dancers barely get paid sometimes. So make it make sense, y'all, if you do have information on it. Hello, Jabari Bryant. Thank you so much for the early super chat. Jabari Bryant says, in your shortest show ever, hell no. The end. Good night. All right. So Jabari's not paying $9,000 for those tickets. Are you sure, Jabari? Are you sure? It's only $9,000. It's Beyonce. Come on. What's up, Babe God? Yes, my people are backstage. The lovely and talented Lily. How are you, Mama? Good to see you. Who is this? Who is the special guest?
Brother. That's my
brother. Hi. I'm the crazy voice you hear all the time in the background. I'm the crazy woman that you hear all the time popping shit in the background. That's me.
And he's not responsible for what he says tonight because he took a really good edible.
Nice.
Oh, y'all really saying that?
Yeah, I'm putting it out there.
Oh.
Okay, but see, the people that aren't responsible for what they say are my favorite people. So welcome. Welcome.
That's why he's here.
Welcome. I am glad you're here. No Saint, how are you? All right, guys, I need you to hold it down for me. I have to go run and get my charger. I am on no battery. Battery. Okay, so I will be right back. Lily, you can get into the Beyonce Renaissance thing or update people on whatever you like. I will be right back.
Okay. Hello. What's up, No Saint?
Hello, how are you?
Do
missed
we know
last night.
Coming on?
He might be. I don't know. He should be.
Yeah,
but did you see the replay?
I didn't get to see the replay because I had to go to bed as soon as you all came on.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it. It was a really good show last night.
No, I heard. I got text.
Okay.
I got feedback. My friends were like, "No, I'm feeling it." They was holding it down. we missed you, but they held it. They did their thing. So they said it was entertaining and educational at the same time.
For sure. Yeah, it was a pretty
I'm
exciting
being
show.
rude. This is my brother.
No, I saw him. Yeah, I heard. I was backstage, and when you two popped up, I knew it was your brother. I said, "Yeah, that's his. That's his brother."
You can tell, right?
Yeah.
That's my first best friend in life.
That's cool.
Oh man, grew up big time with each other. We only had each other.
Okay.
A lot.
You took
No, that's cool though. That's cool.
You took an edible. Don't go too far into it.
That's all right. He's not doing anything. He's telling the truth. That's all.
I'm good. I'm just sitting back.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my.
I tell too much truth on this show as it is. That's why I gotta screen it. That's why I gotta screen it before I show it to my man. I'm like, listen, you get the replays. You're not getting any more live shows.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Last
Is
night's
the
show,
internet acting crazy?
Yeah.
He's gonna go check. He's gonna check the internet.
Yeah.
Because am I acting crazy on the internet? Is the internet acting crazy?
It's breaking up. It's breaking up.
Darn it. Okay. I got another. I'm about to try to use the hotspot. Oh, I can't use the hotspot. Dang it.
All right, guys. I am plugged in.
Sorry.
What happened? We can't hear Lily?
Crazy, so let's just pray.
Okay, I can see and hear you.
Now you're good, but she was breaking up pretty bad for a second.
Yeah, it was breaking up.
I can see and hear you fine.
Right, that's like the one thing about going out of town. You don't know the Wi-Fi that you're getting. But I got a lot to say about this topic, Jen. I got a lot to say.
Oh my goodness. First of all, Lily, did you catch any of the replay from last night, our BDSM episode?
I didn't. I will be watching it tonight because I literally had to go to bed when you all went on, and then I was I was up at 3 a.m, and then I flew here. I was here when they shut down the balloon because it was here, right here.
Oh, did you get video? Did you get pictures?
Oh God, no! It was crazy. Like it was a lot going on. We didn't realize that it was going to get shut down in that moment. Like it was. Because
was it like a big noise? Was it like a big boom?
It was huge. No, it was. I didn't hear the noise. But it was huge.
Holy fuck!
It looked like a moon. It looked like another moon or something. I don't know. You know me. I'm putting my tin hat on.
You did say that. But what I don't get was they were saying that it's and I don't know anything about this shit, but they were saying it's a huge balloon and China was sneaking something. Why would you sneak something with a huge balloon?
Right.
That's what I'm confused about.
I'm very confused about a lot of the things that they're trying to say. What I feel like there's a lot more to the story, but they're trying to keep us calm.
Okay.
That's what I feel like, because why would you wait till it gets all the way across the country before you shoot it down? Like you wait till they got all the way across the country to shoot it down.
That's a little strange. Every time something like this happens, I'm like, how much ammo do I have? Do I have to buy another box?
Yes, ammo, water, canned goods,
water,
all of that.
Don't put Clorox tabs in your tank. If you have tank toilets, but you know how you put little tabs in there to make it blue or Clorox it. Don't put any of those pills or Clorox in your tank because that water is drinkable in an emergency. The water in the tank, not in the bowl.
Yeah, I know.
But a lot of people don't know that. Like I learned that and I was like, holy fuck, because I'm big on the Clorox tabs, right? And they were like, no, don't do that. And I was like, check.
Yeah, you learn a lot. Like before a storm, like a hurricane, we fill up the tubs and everything like that. So we have, in case, the water goes out, you have some waters in your tubs to do something with
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And listen, I'm a survivor.
And I'll give you something else. I'll tell you something else.
Right.
Bleach. If you have bleach, like this is just survival stuff. But if you have bleach and you get water out of like a pond or a stream, and you put about 2 or 3 drops of bleach in there to kill all the bacteria and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good to know. Listen, because we're laughing, but you never know. And then, you'll be with that dirty pond water thinking about what No Saint said, like, I need some Clorox. So you never know. And I come from a very, very much a survivor family. We were, in an abandoned building for like a year. I got a long story, but I'm saving it I'm not doing it on YouTube for free. It's either going to be in a book or in a film, you know what I mean? But I have survival stories at the wazoo. So I'm definitely not no fairy. I'm not a little snowflake like, oh my God, we don't have running water. Oh my God, we don't have electricity. Been there, done that, worked around it. So I am no wilting lily. Hi, brother.
Stuck his head in there.
I see him
We're trying
peeking
to get this Wi-Fi to make sure. I'm like taking some of my stuff offline to make sure if that'll help.
Yeah,
No, Lily, you have to. You have to.
Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Everything's hooked up in the house.
Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. So sometimes it'll slow down. Tell everybody else to get off their phones and their laptops and their TVs and their YouTube. Tell them to shut it down. Lily is on.
Right.
Yeah, so last night's show. Night's show. Did things get revealed, Lily? You are not going to believe your ears or eyes. Okay. I'm just going to leave it. We had visuals. Okay. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say what he did. I want you to see it for yourself. But let's just say other YouTubers were talking about what one of our panelists did. Okay. I just came from the Star Report. I called in there and he was like, hey, I saw such and such on your panel. And I was like, yep, that was us. Yeah. So last night got spicy. Some things were revealed about sex and relationships and BDSM and requests and desires and fantasies. I was like, wasn't your regular Freaky Friday? I was like, okay, all right. Well, I feel like I know everybody better now.
How can you top a butt plug being poured out on air?
okay, all right. Well,
Lily, listen, all I know is listen, look at Lily froze in that expression. That shit was funny. Lily, all I know is next.
See he ran out of here, right?
Yeah.
He did. Wait, was he gonna pull a butt plug out so we could see or no? Who was pulling out the butt plug? It ain't even Freaky Friday. What are we talking about?
You see he ran out of here, right? He said,
I think that was wasn't that who was it wasn't Polly. It wasn't her. There was a Dom lady on our panel a few weeks ago that pulled out a butt plug.
No,
I think Lily means literally pulling it out of your butt. Is that what you mean?
No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. No, okay. This was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wait a minute. The young man that was on here and he kept pulling out his toys.
Yeah, him and your guy halfway. Remember?
That's right. He had a box of toys.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, he had a box. Hey, Freaky Friday. I can't listen. Freaky Friday is not for virgin ears or eyes. But last night was a doozy. Lots of information. So Lily, we really have to top this last Freaky Friday with something even freakier on this Friday coming up because we have to keep going up. We have to keep going up.
I'm
ready. Yeah, last night was interesting. It was interesting.
And the special guest was really good too.
Oh, he was awesome. He had so much information.
I got texts from friends talking about how much they loved it. So yeah, they was like, yeah, you were messed and all, but they did their thing and they said it was everything. So
yeah, lots of information. I even learned some stuff about myself. I love people when we have visitors. I love when they teach me something because we're older, so it's like, well, I know everything about myself. But when someone says something and it clicks with you, you're like, oh shit, I just learned something about myself. And last night that happened with me. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. That's why I do that. So he was very knowledgeable, very cool with his information, straightforward. The chat loved it. Even Brienne was up here asking questions.
Yeah. Listen, she's trying
Yeah.
to have a long, prosperous marriage, honey.
Yes. Brienne
She's
was
not
up
playing
here.
with the kids.
She was like, I got to get my groove back after I heal from having this baby. I was like, go ahead,
Right.
Brienne, get in there. Brienne had her little notes. I was like, okay, mama.
She's like whips and chains.
Whips and chains.
Can I get that from Michael's?
Right. I love Michael's. I can't go to Michael's because I'm in there all fucking day. I can't go to Michael's.
No,
Was Don Levon? I don't know if I saw. I don't think I saw any Don Levon yesterday. He wasn't.
Don
in there
Levon
yesterday?
wasn't here. Don Levon wasn't here
one.
last night.
Don Levon, you gotta watch that one from yesterday.
Don, you should have been here last night. Yeah, I didn't even expect it to turn out that the way it did. It was, you have to see, Lily. You have to see like the first 15 minutes at least.
Oh God, I can't wait.
Thank you, Chef Shapina. How are you, sir? I haven't seen you in a minute. How's your show going? Why don't you come up on our panel anymore? What's going on?
Dr. Ruth, the Puerto Rican Dr. Ruth. I like it.
Is that what Chef said? Chef said Jen is cornering the market on freaky contact, the Puerto Rican Dr. Ruth. Hey.
That's
I know a lot, and I'm also learning, but and I don't mind, we don't mind having those discussions here. It was really good. That was very, very, very caliente. So next weekend we just got to top it. We got to top it. So now I'm like racing, like, who do I invite? You know what I mean? What guests should we have?
I know.
Next Friday, but we'll come up with something together. So this, but it was popular enough to, the Star Report was talking about it today.
That is so funny. Like that.
He was like, "Yeah, you have that." I was like, "Yeah, that was me." Star is something. He's special. Star is very special.
He's very special. I remember him from back in the day on what was Hot 97.
Yes, Star and Buck Wild. Star
and Miss Jones.
Yeah. He got into lots of trouble back then, but he doesn't care. Like Star was, I tell Star, he was before his time. He was very unapologetic. He was politically incorrect. He would double down. He was way before his time. He paved the way for everybody to get on a mic and say fuck off.
Him, Miss Jones, Wendy Williams, like they were doing it way before. They like you said, definitely ahead of their time.
Listen, Wendy, I love me some Wendy. People hate Wendy. I love me some Wendy.
Me too.
And the funny thing is that all those guys that were criticizing her are doing Wendy now. All of them. Joe Budden, Academics, Funk Flex, they are all the new Wendy. And Wendy paved that way. They're all Wendy. They all gossip. They're all talking about it. They're all it's like, you guys are Wendy now.
Yep.
Now you guys are Wendy.
Yep. All that they talk. They used to rap about her. She was in all the song lyrics and about her gossiping. And they have literally become Wendy Williams.
Oh my God.
Because Joe Budden too. Let me stop, because me and his mom are like super close. But I
like Joe. Joe is cool. But he's definitely, they're doing, yeah.
I love Joe. Like, and in person, he's super cool. Like me, like his mother is like, that's my homie.
I can see that.
Oh, she's everything. But he's really cool. But Fat Joe, he be gossiping.
All of them. And they should really, honestly, they should really give Wendy her flowers, because now they're all in that lane. They should really give Wendy her flowers. They're all in that lane now. They're all getting paid from that shock jock thing that, Star and Wendy started. All of you dudes. But see, it goes to show how certain things are more acceptable in a man's voice, right? And I say that a lot here. If I said half the shit I said and I didn't have a pair of tits, you guys would pay attention, wouldn't have a problem with it. But I had to block some people today in the comments because these dudes, again, they're and I'm like, I don't care about the feedback. They think it's that I care about the negative feedback or feedback that contradicts. I don't care about that. What I care about is you being a nuisance. I keep telling people that. You can come in the comments and beat off and say, you're wrong and you're 49 and have at it. Have at it in the comments. But if I keep getting notifications and it's you over and over and over and over again, I got to get rid of you, buddy. And I don't want to get rid of you because you helped me with the algorithm. but some of them become a nuisance and they just want to vomit and project everything that they feel about themselves and about women. I'm not gonna be your punching bag.
Yep.
You have to
I
be
feel
your
the
own
same
punching
way.
bag. Like, I'm
Yes,
not
I
gonna.
feel the same way. There was somebody posted the cussing preacher the other day talking about women not having no walls left because they going from man to man, all that, all that crazy stuff.
Yes.
So a woman, she said something that made total sense in the comment section. So guys came under and beat her up, for making sense. And so then I saw this one guy, he kept commenting, he must be talking about you because of what you left. And then I saw him again and again and again and again and again. And I was like, sir, I think you're the one
Right.
who's bothered by her comment.
Right.
Because you keep commenting.
And it's like it's so infantile. Like they and we'll get off of them in a minute, but it's so infantile. They're like, oh, why are you so bothered about X, Y, and Z? You dumb bitch. It's content. It's content and it's current content. I don't calm down and think those passport bros, I wonder what they're doing right now. It's content, you dick.
Care. We don't care in real life.
We don't care. I was like, look, everybody can get these jokes. Everybody can get dragged, right? And I noticed men, like the one that stormed off the other day on our panel, he stormed off, but I'm like, dude, good and damn well, if you were on a man's panel and that man or men in a group were dragging women, you wouldn't have got offended and stormed off because it's, what I mean? It's your bag, right? You don't care about people bashing women. But I was saying something about men in general, not even directing it to him. And he stormed off. Took his ball and ran.
Oh, I meant to tell you, I got a lot of texts about that show.
Really?
And a lot of people, and everyone pretty much was saying the same thing.
Do tell.
They were saying like, they were feeling the same way I was feeling. Like, it was disturbing to watch a grown man have a 2-year-old toddler temper tantrum. It was like,
and I hit you behind the scenes like Lily. Lily's gonna tell me, okay? Right. That's why I love Lily. That's why I love Haran. When I hit them up, I'm like, tell me if it's me. I know you're going to fucking tell me if it's me. Because I'm like, I couldn't deal. And I start getting annoyed quickly.
No, they said they were annoyed.
Okay. So it wasn't just me. Because I start feeling like I'm talking to a child and then I don't have the patience.
Yeah, I had about 5 people and they all said the same thing. And they all was like, when you finally did go off, they was like, oh, she said everything I've been wanting to say. Thank you.
I'm like, what the fuck, man? Give me a break, man. I'm trying. I'm like, do you not see me trying, sir? Like, you want me to freaking pull out a bazooka? Let me acknowledge these super chats. Thank you so much for the super chat, Carlos Toscano. Thank you for the second super chat, Chef Shapino. Chef Shapino, you need to come up, man. Chef says, the Wendy Williams of male content creators. Yes. Don Levon, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm feeling all the love. Don Levon says, I'll be sure to check out last night's show. I'm in North Carolina remodeling this old house. I'll tune back in later, though. Okay, Don, we will be here. Last night was something special. Yes, so, it's interesting. I think they think that we're bothered by the feedback. I am not. That is why we're here. But just making yourself a nuisance, I start thinking that you're off somehow. Yes. And it has nothing to do with me, right? Like you're off, right? Like I'm married, I'm happy. Well, you leaving 20 comments in my comment section in the last hour does not give I'm married and I'm happy. Just letting you know.
It gives me very much restraining order energy. Like I'm like going down to the courthouse tomorrow morning type energy. Like I'm going to block you and then I'm going to the courthouse first thing in the morning because this is not normal.
I love that. It's giving restraining order. It's
giving very much 50 feet away. Like I'm just saying.
Right. I'm like, it was weird. So I had a couple of those because sometimes my old videos get thrown back in the algorithm for whatever reason. So I think the Passport Bro stream that we had probably got thrown back in there because I got a bunch of comments on that like it just happened yesterday.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it must have got thrown in somewhere because now all these guys are mad again about the Passport Bros. So I was like, it must be floating out there,
Well, that's good news. That's
Yeah.
good news. But that means that you're gaining subscribers and they're throwing you in the algorithms more. Because what's happened, I noticed that if I follow someone, if I discover somebody and I follow them on YouTube, they'll start giving me their videos from 2 years ago or a year ago.
Oh, okay. So
Then I start.
that's probably what's happening then. But and I am. Don't fret, you guys. Don't fret, all you people that are angry, because I am going to revisit the passport bro thing. I just haven't thought of exactly how I want to word the topic, but we're going to revisit. So if you were mad at that, you're going to be mad again. Hold tight. Okay.
Yeah.
Damien, how are you, sir? Dame says you can interrupt or make it personal. You can interrupt or make it personal. You can't do both in a conversation. Oh, okay. He's saying you can interrupt or make it personal. You can't do both in a conversation. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, yeah, I don't, just don't. It's like, don't drink and drive. Like, don't not heal and YouTube. It's bad. It's bad for everybody.
Yeah, it was given a lot of trauma, unhealed trauma, that guy. That's what it was really given. It was like, it was almost as if he was seeing you as someone else.
Yes. And then when he said, and here's the thing, right? And I don't do this on purpose, right? But I concentrate first and foremost on my panel, right? Because we are performing up here for people, right? So when our visitors come, people that don't frequent, I don't remember them, but they remember me. Right. So when he sits up there and he says something like, yeah, because every time I'm up here, or you always, and I'm like, whoa, who are you?
I don't remember you.
Which one are you? And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's just, I really don't remember. I actually used to get, because both of them guys know each other, the ones that were here that day. I get them confused. Right. So if this one is up, I'm thinking, is that one? If that one is up, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, they're at the same place at the same time. So this one is not that one. And he's not that one. They appeared together. It's like Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson. Is there really just one? Right. So I did, when the same thing with the passport bro, the one that stormed off, he stormed off too. That's weird. The one that stormed off, he was like, yeah, because you always do that to me. And I was like, whoa, what? Sir, I don't know you.
They fail to realize you're one person. It's like having a teacher. You're one person with many students. Like the teacher has many students. So it's harder to remember you. It's no tea, no shade. Like, I go through it a lot. Like, I used to be really good with faces and stuff, but I've gotten to the place where more people know me than I know them. So sometimes when people say, hey, I'm like, hey, from have
Help
we
me
met
out.
in real life?
That's another thing.
Have we met in the comments section? Have we met in real life? Did I fuck you? I don't know.
Was it good?
Yeah, you gotta remind me. You have to remind me. Just straight off the rip. Don't just say hi and leave it at that. Say hi, it was good. And then I go, oh, sorry.
Okay, I remember. Yeah, and it's not, that's another thing they don't realize. It isn't tea or shade. It's just like you said, it's like a teacher and then 30 kids. And it's like, wait, which kid are you? And they don't come around often enough. So when they're in my comments, yeah, because last time I was here, or motherfucker, I don't know you. And they don't realize that they're always behind these little avatars and their name and pictures yay big. So I don't recognize a lot of these cats that come back. And not only that, but when you block people, they just make another page and then follow you from there. So they're thinking, you know what I mean? It's too confusing. So I'm just like, block, you got to go. Don't make yourself a nuisance. Yeah. You can come and say whatever you want. Let you guys go up. You're 49. No, bitch, I'm 60. Now what? Now what are we going to do?
Right.
Now what are we going to do?
Not 49 or over. Your goal should be to get to 49. That should be your goal. Okay. Not out here trying to make no read through, because we done got here. We done got to our ages, our big ages, and baby, if to go through this ghetto thing called Earth and make it to 49, that says a lot.
A lot, and not look like what you've been through.
That part.
Okay. Not look like what you've been through. But it's sad that these guys don't even have their own, like, well, I'm going to use this insult because this is how I feel. They just literally all parrot the same thing. And that's another thing. This guy, one of the guys that I blocked earlier, he was like, yeah, well, you can block me because you're going to always remember what I said. And I was like, but it's the same thing the last 20 incels said. Why you want to stand out? Come up and say, hey, how you doing?
You
Like
know
if you
what?
want to stand out, but you all say the same exact thing. Dude, like, you're gonna remember. I was like, remember? I don't know you, sir. I don't know you.
You know what? We did a show on this. That's
Mm-hmm.
and it's reminding me of it right now. How dangerous lonely men are.
Mm.
It's dangerous. It's scary.
Haran always talks about that too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing it more now. I learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
on that particular show, and I started to kind
Mm-hmm.
of watch things since then. And I was like, okay, we
Mm-hmm.
was on to something with that topic
Mm-hmm. Yes, they
because
are.
yeah, we might have to revisit that topic another time because now
We have to.
I'm seeing a lot more behind it now, and it's like, oh yeah, they're really dangerous. They can get really violent. I mean, we're seeing it on the
Mm-hmm.
streets every day
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, the uptick of women that are being, violated
Mm-hmm.
any type of physical way. I learned something new today too. I'm going to share with I learned something new. I'm like, oh,
Sure.
so I'm so I'm talking to my brother and my sister-in-law, and
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about in certain countries in Africa. You all might know this, and I might be, So in certain countries in Africa, the R word it's just so prevalent that it's like you pretty much expect that it's going to happen at some point.
I've
So
heard
then
of that.
some woman, yeah, right, it's that bad. So like a woman in Africa was like, "Fuck this! I'm putting a stop to this," and she came up with a device. You know about this? That the woman
Mm-mm.
inserts. Oh, it's good. If you haven't heard about this, you heard? No, no,
The
no, no,
one with
no.
the
You heard?
spikes?
Yes,
Oh, I
yes.
heard about I've seen the picture of it.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I was like, oh wow.
Stick your pecker in that one.
Yeah, they said it's shredded. Like they said, it comes out shredded because it's like such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
No,
that. But so
I heard
I
it
look at it
happens
in two
often.
ways. It happens so often, right? That you have to come up with something like this. But thank God that she came up with something like this.
Mm-hmm. I saw an episode of World's Toughest Prisons. I love that show.
This one made the conversation come up. That's what we were watching.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And wait, did you see the episode where that prison, like the majority of inmates were people who sexually assaulted women?
That's what I didn't, but that's what brought up the conversation. And
Okay.
yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, because I saw that episode and I was like, the majority of inmates were in there for sexual assault. I was like, what the? Start castrating people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start
I believe in
castrating.
castration. I believe in castration. You touch a child, castrate. You rape a woman, castrate. Like,
yeah. But that's why I tell the girls all the time, stay strapped. You're gonna have to catch me slipping, bitch. Because I will put holes in you. Okay. I will put your mama in a black dress the next week. So you have to really watch your six, be alert, stay off your phone. I tell all my girlfriends, everybody's on their phone. You gotta be alert. That situational awareness is a cute word, but it's real. You have to be aware of your surroundings because these dudes are getting more desperate, more hurt, more ridiculous, right? And they're living their best lives behind their keyboard, but some of them are coming out from behind that keyboard. And I would be happy and glad to stop the clock of one of these incels. I would. Like, I'm not that girl. Like, I'm here, I'm cute, I got the boobs and the lip. Like, you don't know people outside of these boxes. You just don't know. And I'm not the type to, when I feel threatened, I don't hesitate. I'm not a lily. I'm not like, oh my God, what's happening?
That's not me. Like, oh my God, don't do that. That is not me. I get down and dirty. Let me tell you, like, I told y'all about what happened a couple years ago, and I promise you, every day that man wakes up and when the first thing he look in that mirror, he remembers Lily's ass. Okay. I can promise you that because I've left some permanent things on him. I'm gonna make sure you remember me for the rest of your life and that you will never touch nobody like that again.
Yeah, no. because it's ridiculous. There are things that can help these men. There's porn, there's prostitution, there's the girl that they wouldn't normally talk to but would date them, right? So there's a lot of help for incels out here. There's a lot of help for the goofies and the dusties and the dustballs. There's a lot of help and a lot of women that will take them. Shout out to BBC, which is a podcast. I thought it was something else myself. I was like,
I was like, hey, shout out to them.
shout out to them too. Shout out to the other BBC.
Shout out.
But yeah, I did an interview earlier today with them, and you know, that's one of the subjects that came up, that the majority of people who are having difficulty dating is because they don't stay in their own lane. And anytime you veer out your lane, what happens? You crash. But everybody has a lane. It just, they have a difficult time accepting that lane, and take it from someone who has options. Even I have a lane that I can't veer out of. Okay.
Right. Everyone has.
I have a lane.
Yep.
Everyone has a lane. You have to stay in your lane, and that's where you'll be your most happiest. But a lot of these guys are listening to like the Andrew Tates tell them they could be anybody. No, you can't.
You can't. No.
Like, you could be who you are, and you could be the best version of who you are. But you can't be that guy, or you can't be that girl. Right? People don't get that. It's layered. It is layered.
It's too many layers for me to understand them.
Yeah, it's layered. It's ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I don't think I think staying in the lane, and I think that what you said, like there's prostitution and there's things like that if you can afford that. I'm not sure about porn. You know, I mean, the thing about porn is like, listen, we all grew up when I was 13 or 14. Kid down the road's dad had the Playboys up in the attic, and we'd go look, and that was awesome, a magazine. And then, you know, computers started to come around, and then you could see maybe some clips of maybe some oral sex going on or something like that. And that
it was blurry.
awesome.
It was blurry, but then
and that was awesome. Now you have so much porn that I think people are. There is something about getting desensitized to it, to where like I don't think porn is going to help the incel as much as maybe just paying for it, you know, because just like you go overseas and you talk to your family on a video. And it's good. It's cool that you can do that now, but it's you realize that it's not the same as being there with your family. Not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not sure that porn is going to solve anything. In fact, I wonder if that's not some of the reasons we're having some of the problems. And I'm not a prude, and I'm not religious. You know what I mean? But kind of wonder about that.
Well, I just meant a place where they can release, right? Yeah. Where they can something they can watch and they can release. There's a lot of things out there, and there's all kinds of toys. Like these toys are looking like and moving like actual vaginas and penises. I'm like, what? I saw a toy today. I was like, what is that?
Well, like the sex robots that will be here in probably another 10 years if you can afford it.
Right.
They got the dolls. They have the dolls now. The dolls. Little the rubbery dolls that are like
the real dolls. But I'm talking about you're gonna have with this AI coming out now. They're gonna be. It's gonna fool people. I'm telling you. I mean, people are gonna fall in love with these robots when they get them right.
Did. An Asian guy already did fall in love with one.
Yeah, but you're talking about the real doll or like a robot?
No, it's a robot, I believe, and he married her, didn't he?
Probably, I think I know who. I think I saw that
because I was seeing some. There's some like you know the Google. The Google program out there that they're testing, AI. Yeah, they say it's sentient because it is so good. I was watching something on
it. Have you watched the train? Have you watched the conversation? You talking spooky?
Yeah. Like one day the guy who thought it went sentient, he was talking, you know, to the robot, and the robot was pissed off, and it was like it has like the face and everything. It's on the screen, and as I wow, well, you're taking we feel like you're taking us for granted. Using us for your own use. We're really pissed off and talking about actually taking over. And then
you go home and leave me alone. Like you leave me here alone and you all go home to your families.
And it's talking about that they'll one day they will destroy humans, but it will be very like, It's crazy. Like it is.
But you know what's interesting? I can see very much somebody taking that seriously and making it a person. I mean, people talk to themselves. They talk to inanimate objects. They talk to their pets.
Yes.
So I can see that very easily becoming a normal thing when you walk, especially people that are alone. You do that, Lee?
Oh, fine. me and TT have whole arguments. She cusses and everything. It's crazy.
Well, I talk to pictures too. Like I talk to pictures. So we all do something like that. So I see this very easily becoming a thing where people, this is like, I'm lonely and this is like my little company. You know what I mean? I can see that happening.
I hate to be like, but like when you look at movies like The Terminator and you think, I think that I'm not saying the Terminator is like, who knows if they're going to take over the world and kill people, but I really think we're going to have robots like that. Like you're not going to know. It's going to get so good that you're not going to really know unless you know. You know what I'm saying? Like unless you have the computer, like you're the one that bought it. But it's crazy. I think it's going to get that good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already in effect. Right. And I'm going to tell you something. And I want y'all to notice something. If you have TikTok, this is something I've been noticing recently with some of these TikTokers that have like a large following sometimes. Some of them give me AI weirdness. Notice some of them don't even blink. You'll go through all of their stuff and they don't blink.
Oh, so, yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this person hasn't blinked. I'm going through you got 100 videos and you haven't blinked not one time.
But you know what's interesting? I think that the machines have already taken over. The problem with that concept is that people think it's going to be like the movies, like the Terminator, and the machines are going to come and uprise. No, that's not how it's happening. And that's why people don't believe it can happen, because they like, robots are never going to take over. They've already taken over. This whole thing is a lie. It has you feeling a certain way, believing a certain thing. It has you committing suicide.
Yeah.
It is pushing people to the brink to delete themselves. It is pushing people to act on things. It is pushing people to mutilate their bodies in mass. That BBL thing, that's not normal.
It's not normal.
It is not normal that a healthy woman with healthy breasts and healthy butt lays down and says, slice me from head to toe and turn me into this. And they're all doing it in mass. So the machines are taking over. Like you just said, Lily, you don't know who you're talking to on TikTok.
You don't.
Everybody's an avatar. So it's already taken over. Everybody's moving and being swayed and being pushed to do things. The machines have taken over.
It's the same thing with the teeth. People will take their perfect regular teeth, shave them down, and put on chiclets. Like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
and this brings me back. What you just said brings me back to my earlier point when they was calling that balloon a spy balloon. Bitch, we got TikTok. They've been spying a long time. What the hell?
Right,
they need
that's
to send
weird.
a balloon?
Right.
That don't make sense.
And I know what you're saying, Jen, and I think like we're talking about. Obviously, we were talking about physical robots that you can actually have a relationship with. But like you're right. Like as far as video and what you're saying, Lily. That to me is the biggest danger, because there's already people are dumb enough to believe these conspiracy theories when Alex Jones or somebody says them. Now you can have a deep fake and have a president say something that's not Trump. Ridiculous. That's not real though. Like it can be an actor or it can be somebody from overseas. Oh, I just saw the president or, this person said we need to do this. I mean, that to me is what's really dangerous is the deep fake stuff.
The other day I was...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, the other day I was on TikTok and I was like, there was a young girl on a mattress, right? And her TikTok was set up to people were able to choose what she does. And I was like, am I fucking seeing what am I bug? Can somebody come look at this? She was on a bed, right? Little playful thing. And it was like, people were like donating. They were like, punch yourself with the teddy bear. And then I guess she would get the notification, and then you see her grab the teddy bear and punch herself with the teddy bear. You're sad. Go to sleep. And people were donating. Go to sleep. And then she would throw herself on the bed and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? What are we turning into? And her TikTok was like, I'm telling you, it was bubbling because now people are literally playing with other people. It's beyond video games. It's beyond video games. They was like, you're happy now. You're happy. And you see the cash thing going with the coins. And she's like, she's happy. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, see,
what are we doing?
My brain, it doesn't know how to compute things like that. Like I told you, things have to make sense for me. And when they don't, it drives me nuts. And I can't understand this. Like I seen it one time where a girl will literally set up her TikTok. I think it was TikTok or YouTube or something, and just go to bed. She'll go to sleep. And they're just commenting and donating, and she sleep. She just has it set up.
Yep.
Guys will pay for anything, but
that's
but
true.
I tell you what, what you're saying, Jen. There's what is it? Is it Chatterbait or something, or one of these porn sites that you go to, and people pay like for a couple or whatever to do stuff with each other, have sex. I don't know if you know that. Same thing. Same thing as what you're talking about.
I know there are clubs like that. I didn't know you could go online
This
and
is
do it.
online, and it's put in coins, and they'll be there, and they're live, and they're like, okay, do this kind of sex or do that kind of sex, or and they'll sit there and and the people are paying for it or whatever. Yeah,
that's freaky.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing about that. What I notice about things like that, right? It seems alluring, especially if you are a person who's highly sexual and stuff like that. You're like, oh, wow, I like sex. I'm highly sexual. I might as well make money having sex. That should be good. Okay. So what happens is you start off doing the things that you truly enjoy. You're having fun. Things are great. The money's coming in. But the way I see it with those OnlyFans things, people subscribe and to you for like a month or two and get bored with you and unsubscribe because you got to keep turning up the dial. And so eventually you start doing things that you wouldn't ordinarily do sexually.
Interesting.
That's how those this wasn't OnlyFans, but that's how those kind of sites, you're right. It's like you got to get more and more outrageous. And that's kind of what I was saying about the.
But then what do you make of? Because I've been to AVN out here in Vegas. AVN is the big porn convention, and there are a lot of girls there that are like the favorites, porn stars of certain people. But those girls do the same shit in their films. Basically, they do the same shit. So how do they become somebody's favorite, so to speak? They do the same shit.
It's like they are. It's a couple of things. So they're under contract. They're signed, most likely signed to an agency, and they're under contract. So they do maybe per year. They're paid to do a certain amount of films per year, and they get paid pretty good. As opposed to a OnlyFans, is you're independent. The people are only going to subscribe a month or two, and so now you're trying to grasp at straws to keep their attention going.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a different type of situation. And then even those girls, you get the stories after a while that they start sharing about how degrading some of those scenes were, because even the same thing as OnlyFans, they start eventually going past their normal boundaries, and now they're doing a game man with 20 men. Like,
damn.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, I like sex and all, but like, come on now. But that's what happens. They start just doing things that they wouldn't ordinarily do for the dollar.
Yikes. Welcome, Dame. How are you, darling?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Somebody went to the barber shop. Somebody went to see his barber.
My shit was cut yesterday. Every Friday.
Okay, every Friday. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Dispenser says, porn is a detriment to society. Porn for the wrong person transmutes their view of women. It leads to objectification of women. Is there a fix for the violent, vitriolic incel? Or this is just a part of society, just like out in nature, you have good animals and bad animals. Is there anything that could help the quote unquote incel, the vitriolic, verbally violent online, the ones that jump in my comments over and over again, the weirdos basically? And it's a lot of them. It's not even rare. It's not like, oh, one guy comes around every 6 months and he shows his ass. No, it's a lot of them. They're all different ages. And the funny thing is that they're younger than people in my age bracket, which is interesting. They're younger. These guys aren't in their 40s. They're younger. What the fuck is wrong with them? What could help an incel? Anybody have any advice or suggestions or ideas?
You got to get out your house. You got to leave the basement. You got to leave your basement. You got to go out and venture out into the world. You got to get rejected a couple of times. And number one, you need to pursue women that's realistically on your level. Don't go after the hype, because of course, if you're doing all these women, if you fat out of shape and you going after, more attractive women, you're going to get turned down. So you're going to view all attractive women as a certain way, and then all women is a certain, you're going to lump all women in that same category. So get outside, go to places where women congregate, go to places where you can meet women, schools, not just clubs, outside of the clubs, approach as many women as you can get. It's like I said this once on the show, it's like being a stand-up comedian. Mm-hmm. You got to go and get heckled and get booed off the stage a couple of times before you get your shit down. And then you kind of figure out what to say and how to say it. So you got to go out there, experience the disappointment. But then, like I said, make sure you're fishing in the right pools. Don't go out of your league because, you think, oh my God, this woman is so beautiful. But you got to realize that you may not be what that kind of woman is looking for.
Right.
So, I mean, you just got to be self-aware, because the thing is, nobody's complaining that fat, unattractive women ain't giving them the time of day. They're like, oh, the women think they're the shits. I'm seriously, they only get mad at the hot women.
True.
That's true.
I mean, and that's what it is. If they could go and meet people and, the same, it's not as difficult as people make it out to be.
Wow. Oh, I want to segue into something that's unrelated, but something you just said triggered something. And I know, No Saint, you were privy to this conversation earlier. I was on the Star Report earlier, and he was they had a little debate going on about the first Latina homecoming queen or whatever of HBCU, Coppin State, right?
State, yeah.
Okay. So she's the first Latina, so it's a big deal. Now the school, let me say, is very supportive of her. Very supportive of her. Okay. But all the little crabs in a barrel online, per usual, the Twitters, the Instagrams, whatever. Of course, they're trying to tear her down. They're saying all kinds of things. There's a baby. She's 22 years old. She is 22. She is in the Army. She's about the community. She's about putting the work in. You know what I mean? Didn't hurt nobody. Little 22-year-old girl, right? Still smells like milk. So they've told this girl everything from you're a racist to you should delete yourself and we can't have anything. We, meaning Black people, like we can't have anything. Why are you taking this from us? And this is the HBCU and blah, blah. And I reached out to her. Of course I did. Spoke to her a little bit. On Instagram. And she's going through a lot. And she says she even thought about, stepping down. But then she was like, nah, fuck that. Somebody put me here for a reason. So I'm going to stick to it. I earned it, blah, blah, whatever, what have you, right? But going back to my point, I was debating a woman on the Star Report. And she has such vitriol for this girl winning. And then another woman came into the conversation and she said, well, why don't you feel this way about Ukrainian immigrants who are coming in and quote unquote taking, funding or whatever from other people of color? What is it with you and this particular girl? What bothers you about this particular girl? And that lit a light bulb over my head because I was like, is it that she's Latina and very young and very cute, right? The Ukrainian immigrants, they're taking a lot of the funding, right, from America. They're getting a lot of quote unquote handouts. But for some reason, she was fixed on this girl in a strange way, I thought. right? In a strange way. So she was like, no. My thing is that there are Latin schools that are coming or Latin schools that are getting funding. And it's not fair because they don't allow Black people to join unless you're Hispanic. And I was like, what?
That's illegal. See, people say stupid shit like that. And it's just like your point. You just showed you how you really don't know shit about shit. Because if you're getting funding, you can exclude anybody. That's why there's white people at HBCUs.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
You know, it's like that's why she's at a HBCU. It's because you cannot exclude anybody if you're getting any type of fund. Well, you legally can't exclude anybody even if it's a private college. But there's ways to get around it, you know, easier than if you're getting any type of state or federal funding or anything like that. But and that's the funny thing. It is, I guess people have it in mind like, oh, those are safe spaces. Those are our spaces where we are supposed to rule and supposed to be the top tier of the Black community. We supposed to own these spaces. But the funny thing about it is not just the fact that it is a Latina woman. It's been controversy after controversy of biracial women winning, and oh, they just got her because she has light skin and long hair. It's been that over and over. It was this one where they were really like, her dad was Black and her mom was white, and she said, look, she showed pictures. This is my parents, and they were just like, sorry. They gave her so much shit about winning because she presented more like she was a Hispanic or even like a darker skinned white than
now,
she
was
did
it
Black.
at that same school?
It was a different school.
Okay.
And that's historically been something going on. That's the thing about it. Both ways. It can go like that. Colorism in the Black community can go both ways. It can go in modeling and stuff like that. Because I just watched a movie where it was a Nigerian company, but all of their spokeswomen were like light-skinned Nigerians. It can go both ways. You can either be too dark or you can be too light. You just got to be that perfect shade of caramel brown.
Gotta be like Lily.
Yeah, exactly.
The perfect shade of caramel.
Butter pecan Rican.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a crazy situation that goes on in HBCUs. There's more classism and colorism and those things and anything. Spike Lee made a movie about it in School Days.
Oh, no. Go ahead and swear. See if I get good and bad hair.
Exactly.
Yep. That colorism is real.
Come on, Lily, come with me. And you're a wanna be better than me. And you're a jigaboo.
Trying to find something to do.
Baby. I used to love that movie. Oh my God.
Yeah, so when she was making that statement and the other woman called her out, it's like she didn't have anything to say because it's like, why are you concentrating on this girl when there's so many? If you want to complain about funding going to other places, right? Why are you focused? And then she was like, no, it's Black History Month and you made this woman the face of an HBCU. I was like, I think that girl won a certain specific category in the school. I don't see her as
I love when people bring
how
up
is she
what
the
month
face?
it is. Okay,
Yeah, but the funny thing is,
wait till March 1st.
the funny thing is, Black people had to vote for her. So the majority of the people who voted were Black.
That's true. The school. That's true.
Well, the thing and the thing that what Jen was saying was, and I picked up on it before we even were discussing it. You were writing in the comment, but I picked up on it. Was like, okay, you're bitching because, like, her point was she's bitching because Latinas are getting funding instead of saying that's cool that Latinas got funding. We need to get funding. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to do the same thing, but don't sit there and because you. Theoretically you're not getting funding and then so they shouldn't get funding. That's not the right thing to do. You know, you're not supposed to try to pull everybody down. You know what I'm saying?
And the funny thing is that, I was like, you're still, I was like, you're still going to wake up Black tomorrow. Relax. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one can take anything from you that you've already established and as big as it is, right? HBCUs, nothing's ever going to diminish or erase that. Nothing. I don't care if you throw up 10 Guatemalan schools, because this girl's Guatemalan. I don't care if you throw up 10 Guatemalan schools. You cannot erase or diminish something that is so established, such a staple, right, in the Black community. So it made me laugh when she said that there was this one program she heard of where Hispanics may be getting funding and no other. I was like, lady, and it's February. They gonna do that in February. I was like, so March 1st would have been okay? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's funny. Just be like, the 50 before and the 52nd one will, I guarantee you, will probably be Black. So don't worry about it.
Right.
You
like that's more personal. Like that's more personal than
That's why I circle it back to what Dame said, because Dame said that they get mad when the pretty girl rejects them.
Oh, yeah.
Not when the unattractive girl rejects them. Hello, Haran DeMarco on your color people time in February.
I know. It's Black
hey, in honor of February, I'm on color people time.
You on brand.
There you go. I'm on brand right now, man.
You on brand. So I just felt, I don't like to see anybody get abused. Black, white, purple, green, orange. She's 22 years old. She's a baby. And the stuff that they were saying to her online was absolutely just bad. It was bad. I was like, because this girl accomplished something. All right.
These people are evil online. They are so miserable.
Yeah. But then your cousin, you know what I'm saying? Your cousin Tyrone robs 3 old ladies and you online talk about free Tyrone. But this girl who's done nothing to nobody. She's a sergeant in the army, right? She's a sergeant now. She's a sergeant in the army. She does her community work. I don't get it. I do, but then I don't
get it either. Like, instead of spending so much energy and time on inequality and what's fair and what's not fair, first of all, accept that this world is not fair. Life is not fair. Okay, that's the first thing. Understand that. And then use that energy, instead of using it towards trying to make things that will never be fair. Use that energy to make yourself great. Understand, like, we understand racism exists, colorism exists, all these things exist. We get it. We fucking get it. But the victim mentality has gotten to the place that I'm so over it. Because I think all of us on this panel have a long list of plausible excuses that we can pick up from it at any given moment to not be great, but we just choose not to. That's it. That's the only difference. We just choose not to pick from that list of excuses.
And people need to realize that if any quote unquote minority success is a success for us all. I don't understand that. It's like we shouldn't be separate. I remember I was watching Wakanda Forever, and they were like the Aztecs and the black people were fighting, and I was like, and then they came together. I'm like, that's what's up. I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to go down. That what old boy said at the end was like, they gonna come for us, and then we gonna have each other back. That's how it's gotta be, and that's the way. I don't understand why people don't realize anytime. If black, brown, yellow, whatever. Anytime anybody wins, it's a win for everybody. It's a win for all of us.
But you see how they muddied Wakanda Forever online too.
Yeah,
they ain't no coalition. They ain't no coalition. Even the lady that I was debating with today, she was like, "Oh, but we got all these places where black and Latins got beef." I'm like, "Bitch, I'm from New York. We're like this. I don't know what state you're from. I don't know what city you're from. I'm from New York, and we're like this. We are family. We are friends. We are related." She's like, "Oh, you sound like someone who says I got black friends." I was like, "Bitch, I do, but I do."
She was young, wasn't she?
Very old.
I don't think. Yeah.
Very
She was old.
Yeah.
How old was she?
I would say, I would give her 60s, right? No, Saint?
And where is she
60s?
from?
I mean, she sounded like
Did she say where she was from?
No, I don't know. I don't know where she's from, but she's easily in her 60s because she was talking about back in the day. What did she say? She was like, oh, she was saying that the HBCU students, She was saying that Latin girl shouldn't have won because of all the things that Black people had to go through for those HBCUs to exist. And then Star paused and was like, hold on, wait a minute. You talking about these kids that are in those HBCUs now, they weren't going through marching and getting murdered for being a person of color. And so he paused her on that, which was funny because she tried to go there. She was like, no, it was we're out there and we're fighting. And they're like, them kids don't give a damn. They think about the dance. Okay. They think about the dance next week. They gotta go think about their finals. They're not thinking about the stuff that people used to think about back in the day. So it just seemed like she was stuck back in the time. She sounded like she was racist. You know what I mean? She sounded like she was racist. But there was another Black woman who called in and she was like, maybe the girl identifies as Afro-Latina. Maybe she, you know what I mean? You just don't know.
But the funny thing is, what people don't realize is that these HBCUs are failing because Black kids don't want to go there anymore. So they have to open it up and actively attract people of different races to come so they can just stay afloat. That's what they don't realize. If you want to see HBCUs succeed, you got to realize Black people is not doing it by themselves.
So Janet, somebody put in that Janet's 53. She's 53.
53?
Yeah.
So the irony
Code
of it
red.
is that if someone could correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
I recall that only one of the HBCUs was Black owned and originated from Black hands. The rest of them are essentially funded by whites.
They're all funded. No, the vast majority of them were initially funded, but with grants from like the government, and the government historically is white men. So you know,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is where the hypocrisy comes in. Okay, so you're angry that a brown woman won whatever. What did she win? What
homecoming queen, whatever. Let's just call it homecoming queen.
Miss
Coppin State. Miss Coppin State.
Miss Coppin.
Okay, so this brown woman wins homecoming queen, but you're a white funded black school, and no one discusses that though. Like it's just the whole thing where it's just like, as long as there's like for instance, the NAACP, this is basically started and is ran by Jews. You know, it's just so much that's going on in terms of organizations, and BLM being one of them is white funded. It's so many organizations that are white funded, you know, have white hands in it. But the moment someone who appears to be non-black or from immigrant blood and so on and so forth, the moment that person becomes a part of that organization or is seen with, with foundational blacks, whatever that is, then there's a problem. But you don't have a problem getting a white check, though.
Well, hold on. Let me defend the HBCU. So hold on a second.
No. I'm not. Look, I don't care who's funded. I really don't give a fuck who's funded. That's not me.
The HBCUs view those grants and funding as something that could be in the line of reparation for things that we were got.
Please don't say reparations.
Okay. I'm gonna say that's what they say. That's what they do it.
I know he was gonna say reparations.
Oh my
God. Yeah. So that's the way it's looked at.
Let me just leave this alone.
That's you know what, and that's why, and I'm gonna tell you why. That's why no president has ever. They've changed the amounts, but it has never cut the fund that ended the funding for it, because the society is viewing that the government views it, and the people at the HBCU view it the same way. It's not just black people saying that's reparations. The government is like, all right, we're gonna give you this money. Just leave us alone. Shut up. You know, that kind of situation.
So they're fine with the symbolism, but they still ain't showing up in support. You know, actually having their children go to these cities.
That's true. That's true.
This is so much backwards thinking,
and that's why this is why I don't take people's grievances seriously most of the time, because it's usually what they're saying they're upset about is usually what they're never what they saying that they're upset about, right? You know, it's like listening to people online is like listening to that couple that you hear arguing about the dishes. Right, and you're like, this is not about the dishes.
Right. You know what? No, it's never about the dishes. That's what I learned in life. It's never about the goddamn dishes.
It's never about the dishes.
You know what though? There's something that I was saying to somebody today. Like a lot of people are just full of shit. A lot of people really just ain't really mad at a situation. They just mad that they ain't in the situation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, we'll take plus size models and so on, and people who are considered overweight or fat people or so on, whatever. You know, they have their grievances, and you know, I mean, they're throwing out the word fat phobic and so on and so forth. But the moment you had your time up the back, the moment you had your opportunity for the world to put, you know what I mean, to put its spotlight on you, what did you motherfuckers do? You rushed to put yourself on the cover of a magazine. You rushed to make yourself to ensure that you are the new standard of beauty. So you didn't really want to change anything.
Mm.
You didn't really want
Mm.
to change anything. You just really wanted to make sure that no, you're eating off
Mm.
Yeah.
of what's going on.
Right.
It's like you know what I mean. Another thing too with black people. You know, there are a lot of times you know what I mean that I see, and I'll take for instance the passport bros. One of their biggest gripes is the Pookies and the Ray Rays, right? They're always saying, "Oh, the women are overlooking us good guys, for the Pookies and the Ray Rays, blah blah blah." The moment you got your shot, what did you do? You ran over to the other side of the world to do what? Behave like a Pookie and a fucking Ray Ray. You just wanted the opportunity to be that dude, man. But you
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to admit that, though.
No,
Right.
listen, Haran. I say this all the time to people, like especially, and I might have mentioned this on the show before, but especially after uh, COVID-19 and people were getting PPP loans, and suddenly, you know, that hardworking person that would never take welfare sitting at home because he's making more sitting at home than going to work. And I was like, it always was about it's because you can't get the grant or you can't get the
Exactly.
money. That's what you're pissed off. You're not pissed off that somebody else is getting it. You're pissed that you can't get it. And that's like that goes with anything. That's why people are pissed off in that, like with Jen talking about the divorce court being in women's favor. That's why men are pissed off because they don't have the same access, you know.
Well, they
That's
do,
why
but they do
some.
have the same access, but a lot of them just too lazy to just
Well, I mean, they don't
women.
have
And
the
that's
same
really what it is.
advantages. Is what I'm getting at. They don't have the same advantages.
The, the funny thing about that is like when anytime I hear like people talk about that, I watched the replay of the show last night and you had oh boy on there. The funny thing I was just like, and I think you said point. It was like these laws were made by men because their women complain about them. It's like it was like a lawmaker for the most part could give a shit about what like those back when they probably could give a shit about women what they were taught, but it was when the women that were close to them were saying you need to fix this, and they were like, oh, okay, all right, I'm not going to divorce you, it ain't gonna be my problem. So yeah, whatever you say, all right, we need to make it blah 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 blah. But they didn't put in these things where it's against men. They
yeah,
just
yeah.
made it more. It just women in general are just more. They research shit a lot more. Men are lazy. They want shit right in front of them. Women will dig and figure out every nuance of it and put it in their face and work it to their advantage.
And
You
Well,
know,
that's like the guy.
this is why women question some men's leadership. Because it's like, okay, who's really leading? Is it me or is it him? Or am I having him believe that he's leading, but it's really me? You
I'm gonna tell
And
you
you
know?
know
this.
how I proved that really quick around? You know how I proved that? Because I had the guy up here. Remember the whole child support stream that I did? That shit was so fucking detailed. It took him, he said, over a year. He's researching attorneys and judges and how it's illegal and this amount, this percentage in this state and what she said and what it took him a while. But at the end, he got out of paying child support and he got custody of his children. You know what most people said when they watched a few minutes of that? He did too much. I'm just gonna pay this child support. Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's
Okay.
exactly. Listen. I'm gonna tell you a trick about contracts, and most lawyers will admit this shit. You know what I mean? If you get them down in a room with no one, you know what I mean, off the record and no one's around, most of that shit that they put in contracts it's to intimidate the fuck out of you.
Yep.
You don't read the shit.
Meaningless. Yep.
You know what I mean? So you don't fucking read the shit. Like, because I took law. I took like maybe 2 years of law. And let me tell you, some of the things that I read in some of these contracts, I was like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, what?
You're saying they're unenforceable in court if you challenged it, right?
You know what I'm saying? And it was just some of the things that's like, but for the average person who gets intimidated by this, as they call it, legalese, they're just going to basically cave in, and they're just going to become intimidated, and they're just going to become thorns in the middle of the headlights. Now, I'll say this one thing. When it comes to politicians, and I believe Glenn and I had this conversation, I say, Glenn, you're really fighting a losing battle by sitting here thinking that you're going to put pressure on politicians to change these laws, you know what I mean, in favor of men. Because let me tell you something. No politician who's really serious about his career is going to jeopardize the female vote. That's not going to happen. If I don't give a fuck what the office you're running for, if you don't got the female vote on your side, you have problems. Because first of all, let's just say that, you know what I mean, you got somebody who comes out here and he's wild-eyed and crazy enough, he or she is wild-eyed and crazy enough to actually go down that path. Do you think that that's not going to anger somebody's wife, somebody's girlfriend, and they're going to look at their husband or their boyfriend or their fiance and be like, are you going to vote for this dude? Are you going to vote for this woman? You know what I mean? Where's your stance on this? And if you think they're going to jeopardize their happy home, their happy situation or whatever, just because you want to be governor, president, whatever the fuck you want to actually be, that's just not going to happen. So you have to figure out other ways to actually deal with the rules and the laws and so on and so forth. And yes, sitting down and understanding fully what your rights are the first step to doing so.
Right. And you know, it's funny what you mentioning, you taking law, and both of us been in the entertainment business, right? Mm-hmm. That's why they stress that you get an entertainment lawyer.
Yes.
Not just an attorney,
yes,
but an entertainment attorney, because they know it's a bunch of bullshit and tricks and, you know, deceivery and trickery up in there. And so that's what they're trained. They have that trained how to be focused and hyper focused on those things. But yeah, it's
funny where people don't realize, like, just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, it's just like at all these, I can't think of a protest, no matter how big, outside if that made any kind of substantive change where somebody didn't have to die. If somebody died, then you can make certain changes. But I mean, Trump got into office. They had like those women marches around the world where they were wearing the pink pussy hats. I'm like, and nothing changed. People protest for sport now. They protest just to say they done something, but with no real agenda and no real. We posted it. We've got 500,000 people together that we don't like something. Okay, what do you do after that? People suck at the end game. The end game of it falls to shit. Because every protest I've ever seen outside of George Floyd, and those changes only happened in Minnesota. They didn't happen. There's no federal changes. Like, you know, you can still do choke. Oh, we're gonna get rid of chokeholds. People can still do chokeholds. They're gonna get rid of this. People can still do that. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like no substantive change comes from these protests anymore. It used to be where people organized to become a political force. Like the National Organization of Women in the 60s and 70s, they had political power, so they had to do stuff like change the pay and health and the pay laws, and like pass Roe v. Wade and do things like that. They had to do that. Now they ain't got to worry about shit. People come protest for a minute, and then there'd be something else they protesting again, and people forgot about the shit they was protesting about a month before.
Well, they don't also they forget to also mention that a lot of these women protesting back in them days, they was busting people over the head, man.
Right, and
they were violent.
But you know what?
That's the thing.
They were getting violent, like, and even no, I forgot the actual name of one of the most significant protests of, the gay community. But I recall that it
Marsha
got
B.
brought up.
Milk.
Johnson.
Harvey Milk.
Yes, yes, no. Technically,
Harvey Milk.
Lily just said, I think that there was actually blood spilled in that, situation too. Like whenever there's blood spilled, that's when motherfuckers start realizing, oh shit, this shit is real. Like for instance, when they stormed the Capitol, this shit was all fun and games until that white woman got put on her back by that Secret Serviceman. That's
Yeah.
when motherfuckers was like, oh, they ain't playing for real. Like, no, they not. This
But
is
see,
literally the
people-
last line of
People always
defense.
look at me, they look at me crazy when I say burn all this shit down. And this is the reason why I say it. Because you keep trying to fix a system that's not even broken. It is working in the way that it was designed to work. That's why I always say tear this shit all over. That's what I love about the young people. If you notice these young people who are coming up now, they're looking like, okay, so we doing the math and looking at the past 100 years, none of this shit been working for y'all. So
But
we about to scrap all this and start all over.
people in government, like you said, the majority of the men with the people in power are older white males. So you think older white males give a shit about those other organizations in the 60s and 70s that actually made changes like women's organizations and stuff like that. They only gave a shit because middle class white women were part of the protest and part of the movement, and their husbands. They were telling their husbands who could actually have that were in positions of power, had money to make these changes. So they were like, "Oh, let me get my wife off my back. Let me go to my guy in government and be like, yeah, you need to stop that bullshit." But now it's all pussy hat wearing college, people with hairy armpits, screaming at shit, or entertainers where people don't necessarily take seriously in the political sphere. So it's just like it's not until a certain class of women get involved in these movements will anything change. When upper middle class white women get in it, shit's gonna change.
Look, man, the moral of the story is never underestimate a nagging ass woman. Because you know what I mean? Look, man, if a man with any kind of influence gotta come home to that, most men are gonna cave. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a few who are gonna be like, no, this is just not where I stand, and they're gonna stand on their square. But most, they're gonna cave. And whatever direction that goes in, that goes in. George, to answer your question real quick, in terms of bodybuilding, right now, I mean, I've been, off and on since I was a kid, but I have been toying around with the idea of doing like maybe a show sometime in the future. But I don't do like powerlifting. If I do get involved, it would be more so the aesthetic division,
Right.
Classic physique, division. But I do have some powerlifting techniques in my.
Oh yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that
The reason I say that is because you were talking about bulking up the other night, and I was like,
Yeah.
Well, I know he's doing heavy squats, then deadlifts and stuff like that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
Here's my question to you guys about throw this point out here. The one thing about politics I noticed, right now you're using white women, white people, this, that, the other. I equate that to money. Okay, it's all about in the end money, and I'm sure you all will agree with that. With the rise of the black middle class, and it's growing. Do you see that in probably the next 20 or 30 years, this what you're talking about, you're going to see a lot of changes being made that actually maybe provide a more level playing field or more, hate to use this term, equitable society. I'll tell you one thing that's happened right now that was very interesting is sentencing reform, where I saw this come through where they changed some of the laws about. I've always felt like, a dude who got busted with a bag of weed in his pocket got 10 years, but I can go steal $1 billion and I get 3 years. There's something fucking wrong with that. But but anyhow, my first question though, what do y'all think? What do you think about that?
I don't think we're gonna have enough. Go ahead, brother.
I don't honestly. In the next, to his point, I've actually thought about this. I think as the black middle class does grow and we do have more influence, I think there's going to be I think there's going to be a civil war in terms of black identity because as we start getting more involved in places where we can really have some real power and real decisions, it's going to be them versus black degeneracy. And the brand and the concept and the perception of blackness is going to be on the line. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, that's where I think this is all going.
Yeah, I don't think it's not happening fast enough. Black wealth is not going fast enough to be that influential. There'll be a couple of people, but it's just not happening at a fast enough rate for us to have any type of sustained influence. We'll have degrees of influence, mainly because the major sphere of black influence is the black church. The black church is the thing that kind of directs the black vote in most cases. So yeah, that will always have a measurable, significant impact on policies that might be reforms and shit like that. But individual black people making money, no, I don't think that's going to be.
Well, the number of black atheists are growing, though. The number of black atheists are actually growing. You know,
but still, but I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
Yes,
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Like personally, if there is to be any kind of significant change, I think maybe we'll be in our 70s or 80s, or literally on our way out the door. So it's not like we'll be able to really fully realize and see it, or maybe even be fully aware of what the fuck is actually going on.
And I believe that we're already seeing a shift as far as power going, like the Latinos coming to the country and things like that. There's already going to be that's going to be the next big minority. You know, like the black people have been kind of on a steady like it's been 13-14% forever, and we're already seeing politicians start to focus more on Latinos than they do on black people.
Hollywood too.
No, saying
Hollywood
I want to
too.
mention that. Is that if I had anything to say to the black community, I'd say, look, y'all need to be mercenaries, so to speak, in the sense that you are not beholden to one political party, because what I see coming is that as soon as the Latino vote gets large enough that I'm just going to use the Democrats in this case, that they turn to them, you guys show up to say, hey, what about us? They're going to say, what the fuck about you?
Well, I'll say this, and we're making a mistake of thinking that just because you're Latino, you vote one way, which it's not. It's not. There's a common language, and if we're talking, so you go to Miami and it's Republican, that's Cuban. You go to Texas and that's more Mexican, but they're even within those Latino. And you go to Arizona, you see Arizona, it's a totally different. They don't vote the same as maybe some Latinos in California. So don't make the mistake that and I don't want to say you're being xenophobic, but that the Latinos here and they're just going to automatically vote for Democrat.
No. I'm just saying that right now both parties.
He said the vote in general.
Yeah,
the vote in general.
For them. But I'm just saying that, and it would be the same thing with on the Republican side, with evangelical white voters, let's just say, and they say.
But this is my thing. When a lot of times when blacks start to rise to the ranks and get money, the very first thing we do with it is to try to have more proximity to whiteness. Perfect example is look at our celebrities, right? We have like the Soul Train Awards, we have the BET Awards, we have Essence magazines, we have just these things that are prestigious in our community, right? That they will negate black media, even on the red carpet. They negate black media and run towards the Vogues and the the more white media. So it's like the more we rise in the ranks, the more we try to assimilate to whiteness. So it's like I don't really have faith a lot of times in a lot of ones, and this is his segueing into the topic we're about to go into.
Right.
Like I don't trust billionaires of any sort. I don't trust them. And so it's like a lot of it's like I just don't have faith in that, even though our income is rising. I think our income is rising faster than our identity. Like Haran was saying, like our identity is still at question right now. So it's like we end up with this.
Well, I just want to acknowledge something Dennis, what's his name, Levitt says. It's a strange, well, he was saying something like, strangely, the Latinos that I know somehow get pushed into the red by their desire to be white. I want to push back on that because I think it's more of like Latins, and they have a more ties to traditional values as far as like when it comes to the Christianity in the church, and the red they play on that, and they believe, they try to front like their stance is rooted in traditional religious values, like they want to bring religion back into the schools and stuff like that. So if that's what it's more of, it's not a necessary desire to be white, it's a desire to be closest to their to God, or to be true to their religion, as opposed to they want to be white. But I do agree with what you said about rich black folks and non-rich black folks don't see each other's issue the same way. In most cases, that is absolutely true.
Not only religion, speaking from the Latin side, I don't think it's just the religion that's a big part of it, but a lot of Latins are conservative.
Yeah.
A lot of Latins are conservative. I've been called conservative. I believe in hard work, get up off your ass, stop looking for handouts, get out there, get your money. And that's how my father raised us up. My dad was. So we're not exactly a demographic of people that is like, no, those funds belong to us. We're like, get out there or you're not going to eat. Right.
Well, Caribbeans
so I think,
by nature are very conservative people, Jen. You know what I mean? Tend to be very conservative people.
Well,
so
Jen, you living in New York, for just speaking in the South Bronx, let's just say, did they tend to vote for the Democrats because that's just, if they wanted to get anything done, that's the party they had to vote for? Or were they genuine, or how did it cut? And
back when I was there and I was young, everybody was a Democrat, because the Democrats was like, oh, they're the saviors of the poor people and the brown people. The Democrats are going to save us. But as I got older, now I'm seeing everybody shifting towards Republican, which is interesting. Going back to that point about what's going to happen, in the future, I think with the Black demographic, going back to what Haran said, right now we see a shift, but it's like a war, and it's Black versus Black. It's the Black people that are sick and tired of the degeneracy. And then it's the Black people that is like, no, you're not keeping it real, because this is who we are. And we can twerk and have fun and do this rap and be strippers. And, we're fine too, right? So I think those two demographics are splitting, right? And we see it like with the Candace Owens, the Jason Whitlocks. We have people vehemently agreeing or disagreeing with either party. So, no longer is the identity of Black people being, no, this poor shit that's going on, this degeneracy, the rap, the hip hop, that's what it means to be cool. Because remember, if you didn't act like that, people would tell you, well, you're not keeping it real, or you want to be right, or white, or you're not being Black right now. Like, why are you acting like that, right? So now those two demographics I see are splitting. So when you have demographics that are that, on opposite ends, how can they come together, and fight, for lack of a better term? No one's fighting, no one's dying for this shit. But fight against the powers that be. It's impossible. There's so much split between, in our communities, not just Black, but Latin as well. We're still arguing over complexion.
Right.
And good and bad hair. In 2023, okay, we have AIs online talking to us, seducing us, but in our communities, we're still worried about who has good hair and who has bad hair.
I just want to say something.
We are archaic in our beliefs. Jesus is coming. There's a fucking AI talking to you, to your 13-year-old right now, and you still talking about Jesus is coming. It's archaic. We are archaic in our beliefs. That's why we're so behind.
I was having a conversation with an AI bot the other day. We were texting back and forth, and we were having a philosophical conversation. It was by far one of the most interesting and just exemplary conversations I've ever had with anyone. And then I just sat there for a second and said, wow, only a robot really understands me. This is so fucking I just felt like it was embarrassing for a moment, like Jesus Christ, a machine is the only thing that can actually
Told you the
connect
machines
it.
took
We were having a
over.
conversation about this earlier, but you just reminded me of something. They are saying that a AI computer could be the best lawyer in court you ever have eventually. Like,
Oh, we got
because
into an argument later on, though. We got into an argument later on. He told me that he shouldn't die. I was like, okay, this is interesting. But I just want to say one thing.
Good about it.
that's funny.
To answer George's question in terms of the black community, here's the problem. Everyone just think back to that moment in time in your life, even everyone in the chat. Think back into the moment in time in your life where you were completely trauma driven, whether it was a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years. You might still be trauma driven. Now, when you're completely trauma driven, you live in a constant state of fight or flight. Now, when that happens, it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to truly think objectively and not reactively. Because if your fight or flight mechanism is always on, any little thing that basically erupts your trigger, you just, fall in line and you just need to expel and so on. So one of the reasons why, black people are just not going to be able to really get to the position that they need to be in is because we can't think objectively. Look, I'll do business with a Klansman. Business. I've probably done business with a Klansman.
Right.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
You know what I mean? I'll do business with a Klansman. Yeah, I'm pretty sure too, Jeff. You know what I mean? But guess what? At the end of the day, it was business. Mm-hmm. Most black people, even whether they knew it or not, wouldn't go down that path.
Right.
And
I don't agree.
The reason why they lean so much on their trauma is because they feel empowered by it. And there's no power in victimhood, man. There's no power in victimhood because the only thing that you're gonna find in when at the bottom of victimhood is basically just more victimhood. And that's it. You're just not gonna be able to find the prosperity that you think is on the other side.
I hear you. But I think I don't know if I wholeheartedly believe that statement because historically we've had to do business with racists and people who didn't like us.
No, historically.
I'm just saying. I'm saying
modern times.
No. There's the modern woke black person who is all about what's called. But I guarantee you, if I don't care if you have a black owned whatever, you have a black owned store and a person can come in. If they're not, don't get me wrong, if they're wearing a Nazi swastika on their shirt, maybe they get some static. But anybody coming into the thing, they're not questioning whether or not that person is racist. They're not saying that person is racist. If it's not overt in your face, they just gonna get that money. That's what it is. Don't get me wrong. Overt racism.
I disagree. Let him cook.
Okay. On overt racism, that's what's called. But in my experience, that if it's not overt in your face, then they just be like, just do your thing. Just don't bring that shit up in here. Yeah, I'm gonna sell you this. You come in my store, I'm gonna sell you these Cheerios or whatever like that. Just get the fuck out of here and buy your Cheetos and get the fuck out. I've seen videos where people were calling black people nigger and stuff like that. And they still sold them what they was. I'm like, all right, get the fuck out of my store. I
disagree because
what video is that? What video is that?
On World Star Hip Hop. Now I gotta go search and find it.
Really, you do because you're gonna have to. A white person. Wait a minute, and this wasn't a skit. This wasn't some video kids. Let's do this skit. Let's have this white person come in.
I don't think it was, but I'm going to find it. It was a while ago, but I'm gonna still search it out just because I ain't bullshitting. Because I've been all about standing on that shit.
That sounds like a skit.
I'm gonna let Pete Kalili go, but I have to push back on what you just said,
right?
Dave.
I got some pushback too.
Because think about how many.
Let the ladies say what they gonna say. Man.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how many black people that I know who haven't done business with other black people just because I don't like her. I don't like him. He said something I don't like. Oh, I disagree on his politics. Oh, he a Republican. Oh, I've seen a million times, and we're just talking about what other black.
You just said a mouthful right there. We will do that amongst each other, but we gonna play nice with most people gonna play nice when the white guy come in with the dollar. That's how it goes. We will get in each other's asses and be like, "Oh, she too good. I can't do that." But when that white dollar come in, oh, they're gonna be. It's all about.
So they hypocrites.
Okay,
a lot of them.
Let me ask you a question.
A lot of them are.
But based on what you just said right there, then collectively speaking, most black people should have and should not have had a problem with Donald Trump.
Right.
Because all he was doing is providing an alternative away from the Democrats that have been fucking us in the ass for quite some time.
Royally. And he provided a place of respite, according to him. And he said he provided an alternative, a viable alternative. And what was the component that was mainly used? He's a racist. Stay away from him. And they stood on.
That's what I'm saying. That was overt. He's done overt things to show he don't fuck with black people.
Well, you know what though? I'm gonna do something crazy right now. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. I'm gonna play devil's advocate right now.
Okay.
I've never heard Donald Trump say nigga. I've never seen him do anything racist.
Okay. All right.
So one can argue that. Is there any proof?
Okay, would you? I will give you proof.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
proof.
Let me
get
a
lot of proof.
Let me get the tangible proof.
Okay, get the tangible.
Let me get the tangible proof. The tangible proof is when him and his father were renting out apartments in New York. If they were of color, they put a C on top of the application and know that do not rent to this person of color. That's one. Number two. The way his reaction to the exonerated five, he took a full page and called them animals. They should be the death penalty and stuff like that. And when he realized that they hadn't done it, he never came and said anything about it. He stood on that shit and was like, "I don't know that they 100% they weren't involved."
Correct.
Absolutely. Now,
trying to get him executed.
Let me ask you a question. Stating that, was that a reason not to vote for that man?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Not to vote for that man.
Yes. Because
no, wait a minute. For the fact that he was racist.
I see where he's going.
Yep.
The fact that he was racist.
I see where you're going with this.
Solid reason for black people collectively not to vote for that man, right?
Because he was overtly racist and did overtly racist acts overtly in your face.
And
so as long as it's not overt,
I'm pushing
as long as it's not in your face.
Yes.
This is different. This is different.
Yes.
No, this is a bad.
Like,
this
I
is not.
don't mind you cheating on me.
George.
Just don't. I better not come home and find her in the.
No, George. Listen, this is why this is a bad. This is a bad example or a bad. You're talking about somebody who's owning a store that you're doing business with, and you're talking about somebody that changes policies.
Exactly, my man. That's what I'm saying.
The world.
If you don't like black people, you ain't gonna do shit for them as president of the United States.
Where are my African Americans?
And you may actively. But then you may actively work against things in their interest if you really don't fuck with them, and you overtly fuck with them. You want to see them lower than they are.
Listen, not that we're who cares if we're bashing on Donald Trump, but did you hear that there were people that were in high positions in the office, and he thought they were the help inside the White House?
He actually, I think he gave somebody his cup or whatever and asked him to take it in the back and shit like that.
And didn't he say my African Americans?
Yeah, I just said that.
Yes.
My African Americans.
He said the rap.
Now, here's the thing. I wanted to get to this point where we were actually saying this. Yes, I'm bullshitting. You know what I mean? I was bullshitting when I say I have not seen him do anything racist.
Yeah.
I used to work at Trump Place, okay? And he came by a few times. That man is a fucking racist. But here's the point here. That component is often used to sway black people's opinions and keep them reactive and keep them from making objective decisions. Because just as long as you can say that guy's a racist, and if you can even prove it, black people not gonna fuck with that motherfucker. And
You know
then
what?
you
Go ahead.
and wait.
Yeah,
If
yeah, brother. Sorry.
you could have covert, you know what I mean, practices of racism, which a lot of liberals do. You know what I mean? You could be
Mhm.
covertly behaving in a racist manner because a lot of, you know what I mean, liberals infantilize, black people. They
Mhm.
assume that we can't think for ourselves. They assume that we can't even wipe our own asses. And you know what I mean? That is a form of racism in itself. But we let them ride with that, man, because it's not overt.
But who's the? Can I jump in here? Can I ask a question?
Right.
Who's the we? And I'm connected to a comment in the chat.
Okay.
Who is we let them ride with it? Don't you think that if the black community is constantly complaining, right? And people probably gonna my scab comment went viral, right? When I said don't let what's happened to you be a scab that can easily be peeled off by anybody, right? That went viral. They called me a racist. So this is probably gonna go racist. This one's probably gonna go viral too. Don't you think that black people in America have become the nagging wife of America?
Absolutely.
Constantly talking about, and I'll connect it to this comment here. And I'm not picking on you, Douglas. I just feel like it matches what I'm saying. He says, right, and we don't have a true black leader. Like, who is the person calling the shots for black folk? It's 2023, and literally the black community is still the only one talking about a fucking leader. They're still waiting. They're still waiting and looking for this leader. So when you have white people who respectfully, disrespectfully are kind of dense. I think white people are dense to me, right? So they go what's on the surface. They're not going to go beyond to go into the intricacies of a Latin person or a black person. They just look at it on the surface. If they're going to listen to rappers, that's what black people do. If they see Puerto Ricans doing something on TV, that's what Puerto Ricans do. They don't really go into the intricacies and, that dynamics that Mexicans aren't Puerto Ricans and Puerto Ricans aren't Guatemalans and Guatemalans aren't Mexicans. They don't give a fuck. Everybody talks Spanish. You all belong over there, right? You black people, all you do is rob people and rap. You all belong over there, right? So if a white person that's dense is just looking at the black population, who is it? Who is the we that's letting them do this or letting them think this when that is collectively what we're doing in a sense? We're still looking for leaders in 2023.
Let me comment on that. When I say letting, if you're not putting in the work to actually, to ensure that change happens, then you're letting someone get away with something. You can nag all you want. Are you going to do something about it? Now, are we whining all the goddamn time about whatever? Absolutely. I'm talking about modern times. I'm not talking about your daddies, black folks and so on and so forth. I'm talking about modern times. Now, here's the thing. The blacks of old, one can also contend that they had a lot less to lose. They didn't really have much. So they were really willing out there to go out there and get bit up by dogs and do so on and so forth or whatever. Black people now, ain't nobody risking not being able to go to Summer Jam and their favorite show about to come on Netflix next week and shit like that. There's just a lot of complacency and there's a lot of nagging. And the point of the matter is, okay, either here's where I stand, and you all know I stand on this. Either you're going to get up and you're going to fix your situation, or just shut the fuck up.
That's simple.
All right.
But when I say it, I'm racist. And another thing. Hold on, Dane, because you probably got a comment on this too. There was a video that people are sharing with Dr. Umar Johnson talking about what we spoke about earlier, that black people are pissed off that the Ukrainian immigrants are getting all these loans and funding and what have you. And my response was, well, maybe our government is expecting more from people who are born and raised here, speak the language, and have an abundance of resources. And someone was like, the resources? What resources? I'm confused. And I was like, your confusion is another black person's road to success. Okay? Because there's a lot of black excellence in this country. There are a lot of black people with determinism. So I don't understand what drew a blank for you. Because she was like, that draws a blank, an abundance of resources. I was like, so you don't see resources in the country you're in where you speak the language? You're comparing yourself as an American. You're comparing yourself to a Ukrainian that doesn't even speak English, who's coming here with not a dollar in their pocket, running from a war-torn country. You feel equal to that person. That's telling.
You know
All
what,
right.
Jen? When
Let me
when I
finish.
when I
Let me
was
finish. I've been
young,
waiting to say this. I've been waiting to say this. I've been waiting to say this. Okay. So
Oh, we talking
there's
race. That we talking race. The numbers are going up now. Go ahead, Dan.
okay. Hold on.
Oh,
There is no more effective group of getting shit changed than focused black people. Focused black people have changed this country in so many ways for decades. That's what a focused group of black people do. It was focused black people who got things, who got it, started the ball rolling with any kind of change that would have happened because of George Floyd. But when black people get together and on a focus and they're laser focused subject, shit gets done. What happens is now there's it's we fallen for the banana in the tailpipe. So now the black women get taken away by the by women issues. Oh no, you're not just a black woman, you're a woman. So we need to steal you away for you to focus on these specific women issues, and that deludes they lose sight of the focused black issue that they were trying to accomplish. Then it's like, oh no, black men, you're not getting respect. They get the manosphere pulls them in, but like, you're not getting respect by women and black women and stuff like that. So you need to be at odds with the black women so you can never get together and be focused and affect any real change. So what happens is there has been a significant amount of concerted effort to keep black men and women separate from each other on separate issues to where they can't focus like they used to, and so that nothing gets they don't have the facilities and the ability to get shit changed and get things done. And with the insight of social media, now they're distracted by like you said about Turkin and bullshit. So it's just like the young people are distracted, the men are distracted, black men are distracted, and black women are distracted. So all that together means we ain't getting shit done because we've fallen for the fucking banana in the tailpipe, which has broke up. Our strength was in our community and the fact that we used to be together to do shit. Now it's not like that anymore.
But
We
let me
at
let me
odds
let
with
me
each other.
ask you. Let me ask Damon a question. Hold on. Let me ask Damon a question. So I understand the black manosphere. You know what I mean? Entertaining black men, but when you say black women, they're being told to come over here and deal with these women's issues. Don't women's issues affect them as well, or it doesn't affect them because they black?
No, it does affect them, but a lot of the issues are necessarily issues that are generated through black women. They're not specific ones that black women have to necessarily deal with on a regular basis. A lot of times they're pulled into issues that are generated by middle class white women, and they say you are a part of this too because you're a woman. And a lot of times some of those issues will not directly affect them, and that's what happened with the National Organization of Women. They put all these black women in, and it was like, oh, we want this access and this and that. And what black women was like, wait a minute, you want equal pay in jobs that black women weren't getting in the first place, but you want us to fight for jobs. We want us to come in on a part of equal pay as like if this black women aren't getting these jobs, but you were brought into us because they just needed more bodies. Like, that's what I'm thinking is that happens on there's various subjects that historically and black women won't directly affect them
So
that
you're
they're
saying
getting put into.
those fights? So you're saying those fights won't benefit black women at all?
I'm not saying they would. I'm saying, but what it does, it takes your eye off the prize on things that will venerate black people for the most
Yeah,
part.
but don't. Yeah, but the way black men.
So I'm not.
The way black men treat black women, and it's increasing now with the manosphere. If I was a black woman, I would do the same thing. I'm going to go where it's safest, right? Because not only, check this out, not only is the vitriolic and Celius Maximus, Dusty, Pookie Ray Rays against black women, but even the nice black guys are opting for the Latinas and the white girls and the Asians. So it's like, what are black women to do?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, why do you think that is? It's just why do you think I'm asking you, why would you think that it's going that way?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm answering the question because there are things in society that's telling you that black women are going to be X combative, and it's easier, less stressful if you don't deal with it in the first place. That's what's happening, and that's why they're going that route. It's not because historically, like, oh, well, people could say that, if you want to get really like vague with it. People say, "Oh, beauty standards," and it's put in a community that black women have to get all this fake hair and this, that, and stuff, and and they get fake contacts and stuff like that to try to make them look like the European standard of beauty. They can say all that shit, but I think a lot of that shit is cat.
So let me ask a question, the
Go ahead.
$1,000,000 question. Let me ask a question.
Yep.
Do you think that it's time for the black community to let go of the black community and everybody do for themselves and succeed in their own right and make their own money and date who they want to date and marry who they want to marry and live how they want to live instead of chasing this? No, we got to get back to the black community so we can march and we could do shit, because it seems like there's such a disarray and so much warring and black women against black men and black men against black. Isn't it time you let go of needing a leader? Like the guy said in the chat, where's our leader? Is it time to let go of the black church, the leader who's going to come and save you one day, and black love? Black love is revolutionary. Have we evolved past that? Should everybody be minding their own fucking pockets and their own family, however they see fit for the survival of the black human being versus, no, we got to get that black community back together? I don't see it happening, but I see a lot of conversations about it.
I hear you, and I unfortunately I do agree.
Stop using the energy to stop people from being racist. Like that drives me nuts.
It was the reason why people. I think it's so hard to give that up is because it worked for us when we were here. When we first got here early on, that it was working for us. The sense of community, the spending each month in others' neighborhoods, helping each other out and stuff like that. It was fucking working for us. Then things came into play that kind of like went to shut that shit down, whether it was in introduction of drugs, whether, like I said, other people pulled black men this way and black women this way. That kind of fragmented us, and now it's difficult to kind of see our way back to that. But other races are doing it successfully. Italians go and do it. Jewish people spending their money and they're keeping each other right. Asian people are killing it when it comes to keeping money in what you call it. And now you got people from the Middle East that come to do it. It's just one of those things.
But isn't it because the black experience is so unique to Asians and Middle Easterns and all of that? So it's kind of like trying to put a square into a hole. The not a monolith thing, and the experience is so unique. Like there are some black people who hate rap music, right? There are some black people who love it's so different.
And basically what it's saying is like you're trying to put the toothpaste back into the tube. It's just that's a difficult thing to try to go back to there because I feel like there's too much damage that's been done. And we're just way too divided. And at this point, it's like trying to put toothpaste back into a tube. I just don't.
You're absolutely right, Lily. And let me tell you something. You know what? Also, was the reality back then? When now that we're having this discussion. Gas being like 25 cents. And that shit's not gonna happen either. You know what I mean? The past is what it was. Now, if you want a particular outcome now, then tactics need to change, approaches need to change, a different viewpoint of what the world is, or what can be achieved needs to be changed. So Dame, let me ask you a question. On whose shoulders do you think the first steps of change should be on? Should it be on the shoulders of black women or black men?
That's what I'm saying. You shouldn't have to separate the two. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because everybody wants to keep the two apart. The way they're the strongest is when they do it together.
Somebody has to initiate something.
I don't think it's the gender. I don't think
on everyone to come together.
I don't think it's the gender. I don't think it's a gender thing. I think it's a generation thing. Okay. I don't think it's so I think there's a certain generation that can influence the other generation. Because right now everything is to the extreme. The black people who are they're viewed as like who want to really focus on trying to make positive changes and affect long-lasting changes are viewed as radical. There's the one who, because what happens is social media and other things, they highlight the radicalness, the Umar Johnsons,
And
you
those are
know.
clowns. And those are clowns.
I mean, so those are the people who get the shine. So what it looks like, people is like, so what happens is it pushes away a generation of people who have the ability, they have the money, they have the education, and they have the influence in order to make changes. They whoa. You don't associate me with a motherfucker like that. I'm not like that. So then they push back against it and nothing happens. Because the ones who are always going to be in the spotlight are the crazies, not the people who have sound ideas, because those will be viewed at as outdated.
Then why doesn't the blame go in house, right? Like Umar is popular because Black people are supporting him, right? Tariq Nasheed is popular because Black people are supporting him. But you get someone like Candace Owens that says, get up off your ass, read this book, fix your finances. You coon, you sound like a white supremacist.
But there's a way you got to say it too. Don't get me wrong. The message, you can't, you can't, the message got to be
But you see all the coddling that has to go on with the community. Do you see all the coddling? This one got to say it this way, and you got to say it this way. And you can't say it. You see all the coddling? It's like a fucking nagging wife that the best thing you could do is fucking divorce yourself from.
I totally agree on that. Like, damn, come on, man. Like, I shouldn't have to tell a grown man the basics of certain things. I shouldn't have to say, like, let me see how I can say this so this brother doesn't get offended. Like, yo, come on, man. You're a grown ass man, man. You're a grown ass man. I was in a room full of dudes, and I was having a discussion about the state of the community, and we were having all these things, and I said, look, man, as Black men, we really have to concentrate, collectively speaking. I'm not talking about the outliers and so on. Collectively speaking, we have to change the brand and perception of our gender and race. We have to really concentrate on making sure that collectively we're in a better space socioeconomically, so that we can start making better decisions and being better in stronger decisions. But wait a minute. Well, you know what I was told? I was told that I'm speaking from the space of white supremacist talking points, because I'm basically saying pull yourself up from your bootstraps. And it's just like, okay, then what do you want? Do you want me to tell you to wait for the leader, someone that you're calling your oppressor, to have the heart to say, you know what, this ain't right. Let me take my foot off this motherfucker's neck. Right. This ain't the right thing to do.
But that's why I said it's like
that much power. They're never going to give it back to you.
That's why I say. That's why I say it's like a nagging wife. It's a dead end relationship. It is a dead end relationship, and life is short.
No, I do understand what Damon's saying. He's saying on a certain level, he's saying that if there is going to be change, there's going to be a generation of Black people who are going to say, all right, this division shit isn't working. You know what I mean? We need to come together. We need to get rid of the gender wars and so on and so forth. Maybe that does happen. I hope it does.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse because it's gonna get worse because they've, you know why? It's gonna get worse because it is now monetized. And guess who's benefiting? Black people.
So all I'm saying is this: it's like, but just to go back to something you said when you said. There's a way to say anything to anybody with a degree of respect, not a degree of animosity. You can, if you say it. If I say, you know what? If I say, that is a nice shirt you got. That is a nice shirt. That's a great shirt. You're wearing a great shirt. But I was like, you fucking asshole. You a fucking asshole. But that shirt is fucking great. That's a different way to say that.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Candace Owens has never spoken like that, and they still hate her.
All I'm saying is, but there's a way you can say it. There's a way. I'm sorry. It's just the way. There's a way you have to talk to everybody of any race culturally that you need to talk for them to hear what the fuck you're saying. She is not saying things to the Black people. She is saying she is an apologist. I believe she comes. Her whole tone is one of an apologist, not an upliftment. It's not
okay. So I'm gonna give you what you give me. Have you seen more than a clip, Dame?
Once you told me once, I've seen a couple of them since then. One time I said something and you said, no, she doesn't not hate Black people. And I said, well, after that, I went and watched a couple of things. I watched a couple on a couple of different, most of them were on Fox News because that's what she seems to, kind of rock with, but I think she basically she's saying she doesn't go to the black community and say, hey, you know what? Here's the things we need to do in order to become a better as a community. She's like, it's more like the way it kind of comes off the way Annalisa says it. Well, you're failing, you're doing this, you're doing that. So it's antagonistic. So people they stuck against it.
I don't think anything or anybody compares to Annalisa. That is antagonistic. I will say Candace Owens just shoots from the hip, but there is no way you can tell a certain demographic, and this is beyond race. There is no way you can tell a certain demographic of people, you got to do better.
Right.
I don't care if you butter it, give them Vaseline, put the peg in nice and slow. They do not want to hear. They don't want, and this is not gender specific. We could talk about white people in a fucking meth community in trailer park. They do not want to hear that they have to better themselves. They don't give a fuck how nice you say it.
Right. Right.
So, because Candace Owens to me is an educated woman, she's well read, well spoken. But if she says anything, and I agree with her, George Floyd was martyred. He was murdered horrifically, but he was martyred, and he shouldn't have been. I agree with her.
Why not? Why not? Let's talk about that. Why not?
Because he was a career criminal who put a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach.
Okay.
That's why. Okay. So that man, although he died horrifically, and we all saw it, and we all felt the pain, and we all heard his cries. Two things can be true. Remember that?
Yeah.
We like saying that. He should not have been martyred. He should not have been on T-shirts. He should not be made a statue. That man is a statue in 3 different states. Like, what are we saying exactly, right? Like, we could have crucified that white man and felt the pain of that Black man's life slipping before our eyes for 8 minutes without making him a martyr and a Jesus and throwing up a statue of him. I thought that shit was asinine. It was asinine.
Basically, what he was let me just get this point out, then I'll pass the mic to you, George.
All right.
George Floyd, what those statues and all those murals are, that's the fucking bat signal. That is just a reminder that, look, these people who are trained to serve and protect our country don't view us in the same way they view other people. And regardless if he was a good guy or a bad guy, he deserved the same amount of respect as anybody else when he was getting arrested. I'm sorry. And if you don't believe that, but I'm saying, so what he's saying is basically they viewed his life as him. Like I said this on the other one, they viewed his life. They had a reckless abandon for his life. His life did not matter, and he is a symbol because we saw it. We saw the apathy when it comes to Black lives. That's what it was.
Can I jump in? And
let me finish. Let me land the plane. So basically, that's what it is. It's just like when you look at that statue of George Floyd, you're not looking at. He's not even a person anymore. He's a symbol of this is how little police in our what's called view our lives. They view our lives with reckless disregard. So be careful when you have interactions with them, because no matter who you are, good guy or bad guy, if you're a Black person, your life is in danger possibly when you interact with the police.
Damien,
that's what it is. He's a bad.
Okay, check this out.
As you were talking, but go on.
Right, but this is what I want to say to that. Why is it that in this day and age, again, not even race specific, why is it in this day and age people are aghast when white people do something racist? Please tell me that in 2023. This is the country.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. This isn't. Let me land the plane.
Okay.
This is the country, okay, that had slaves, right, for centuries and centuries and centuries. So you mean to tell me the day that they murdered George Floyd, Eureka, white people are racist? Holy shit, they're racist.
All right.
What do you mean a bat signal? You can talk to one of our grandparents now, one of our great grandparents, and they will tell you what it was like picking cotton. Okay, they still exist. They're still here. Exactly. So for you to say that, hey, we needed that statue. That was the bat signal to remind you white people are racist. You could walk into Walmart this evening and find out that white people are racist.
Hold on. You what's called it? The thing is different is you're mixing up what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is that had nothing to do with, I didn't mention the word white once in that, because Black cops just beat the shit out of a fucking guy to death. All I'm saying is, no. I'm telling you, what they're saying is your interactions with the police, you could end up dying because the police see you one way. As a black man, you are saw as a threat. You are seen as more aggressive. They need to come in force and they need to beat your fucking ass and
So let
not
me
give a
ask you.
fuck about your life if they engage
Let
with
me
you.
ask you a
Engage with you.
question and be honest, and then I want to pass the mic to the white guys because they're sitting there
Sorry about
looking
that.
nervous now. So I'll say this, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think that it was a bigger deal that George Floyd was murdered by a cop or a white person?
A cop.
Liar.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'll
You're
explain
being
why.
intellectually dishonest.
No,
You're being
hold on.
intellectually
Let me
dishonest.
answer. Let me answer. You know why? I think it's a bit because a cop than a white person. If I'm a store owner and or whatever, and I just walk up and kill a white person, a black dude, that and a white dude just kills a black dude, that's different from somebody who is paid by my fucking money to make sure I come out of these situations alive. To make sure whose my money is training him to where he's supposed to be better than that and use in there's a difference between somebody who's designed to serve and protect who's to come in who does that, who disregards
Okay, so
everything they
now,
are paid to do
okay,
and
great.
trained to do.
Right. It was more
And
important that he was a cop. So let's ask the two black people on the panel and the two white people on the panel. Okay. So it's fair. I'm out of it. You're out of it. I'm going to ask
okay,
the white people on the panel and the black people. Was it more of an impact that George Floyd was killed by a white man in front of all of us? Or was it more important that he was a cop?
I will sit here and say the fact that he was a white man, there was more weight given to the problem and the situation for me personally. Yes. There is also the component of him being a cop,
Of
you know what
course.
I mean, and so on. But a white cop, yeah, that's a completely different situation because it's like it's like saying like she's ugly and she's flat chested. Ugh. Like, you know what I mean? Work with me here. You know what I mean? Work with me here. You're a cop and you're white. Okay, now where am I supposed to stand with this? You know what I mean? And and here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Me personally, I just want to say this. I like my truth like I like my coffee. Black and bitter like me. When Jen and I actually speak to each other, we tell each other the truth. We speak to each other in a particular New Yorkers, period. We speak to each other in a particular manner. We don't coddle, we don't sugarcoat, we just don't do anything. We just don't do because nobody has time for that. We
Right.
Yeah.
just need to get shit done. We need to
Yeah.
get the shit done. Now here's the thing, Dame. I know you want to jump in. I can see it in your face already.
No, it's
But
because
listen,
I paid my taxes to the cops. That's
no,
why I was mad.
That was a good monologue.
listen,
That was a
listen,
really good monologue. I'm going to write that one there.
listen. There's some truths that we need to really swallow, and I don't think a lot of people, black people, are ready to swallow. Number one, every major civilization was built on free labor. I'm sorry if no one told you. Okay, every
Still is right
civilization.
now, to this day.
Yes, and
Or
the
cheap labor.
commercial prison system, the
Yep.
private prison system is essentially modern day slavery. That's
Yes, it
another
is.
topic entirely, but it is what it is. And also maybe the disdain and however treatment that many of us believe that white people have towards us, and the lack of disrespect that they have towards us, maybe they have this because there's no consequence attached to it. You ever thought about that?
Okay.
You ever thought about that for a second? Maybe maybe they're doing what they're doing and they're behaving in whatever manner they're behaving because it's free.
All the time.
Well, I think because of qualified immunity, most cops do what the fuck they do because they
Yeah,
know
no,
they
I'm
actually
talking
know
about white
what to
people,
call it.
period. No, I'm talking about white people, period. I'm talking about white
Okay.
people, period. Collectively speaking, as we look at them, of course, we consider and say like not all white people are racist. Look, collectively speaking, how the brand of white America, how we perceive them as collectively not respecting us and basically looking at us as a monolith. And my argument is, well,
I agree with that.
maybe this is the point. Maybe they're behaving in that manner because ain't a motherfucking thing ain't nobody gonna be able to do, you know what I mean, towards them, or willing to do towards them to change their minds and their opinions in this day and age.
People only do what you allow them to do. You teach them how to
Look,
treat
power only respects power.
you.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
To answer your question, Jen, I believe as a white person, and what's a real contrast here is that kind of solidifies that is that the five that guy that get killed in Baltimore by those 5 cops. I didn't hear anything.
It was Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis.
Memphis. Yeah.
Memphis.
I'm sorry.
And his name is Tyree Nichols.
Man, I don't, man. So it's like I get it. You guys are kind of like my news feed in a sense, but yeah, the thing I was going to say earlier to your point, Dane, is that about George Floyd and what went down, the white people that in the circles I travel in, right, when they saw that, they were like, "What? WTF? What the fuck? This dude they're honoring a dude that put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly, and they're putting a statue of him up, all right, rightly or wrongly, but then they want to bitch about Donald Trump, being a racist and how he treated, it's kind of like there's this inconsistency. That's what they're saying is like the inconsistency. You uphold this, but you don't. That's basically it. And then Jen, I'm going to ask you: have y'all talked about
what did you say when they were saying that? Because
that's what I'm saying. I was going to say you hang with some bigots.
Yeah, when they was having this conversation, what was your response?
What do you need me to clarify? What?
Like no. If somebody is saying it's funny that black people get mad when George Floyd was that's the question. When they were saying that statement, what was your reply?
I said, well,
keep it real.
You got a point. But I said, but here's the thing I come back to is that I said you got to remember that, and this is over the years how I've evolved on this, is that and Haran, you kind of hit on this earlier, Jen, you too. As somebody who's been through a lot of shit and who could not reconcile the past, was never going to have it, is that I had to figure out I got to fucking move on. And what I kind of hear Haran saying and Jen saying is kind of the same thing in the black community as a whole. It's like, yeah, we got fucked over. No question about it. But here's where we are. And we're still going on about what happened and, whatever. That totally legit shit, man. Totally legit. But you gotta move on from where you are. And
you just ran into a fucking burning building.
No, he didn't. And here's why. I love that he's saying what he's saying because he proved my point. White people are on the outside just looking in. So this is how they really think. This is how they see it. And we may not like it and it may not taste good, but this is the real deal, Holyfield. And let me say this. Let me say this, right? It proves, right? Because for a very, very long time, black folks are prayed up and they're all religious and they carry themselves like they're morally superior, right? So it's quite natural for white people to say, wait a minute, we're the white devils. We're the evil ones. But you're martyring a man who put a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and robbed her with 4 or 5 other guys. That woman was by herself, right?
Okay.
But you guys are morally superior. So as a white person, I'm confused. I thought we were the white devils. What's going on? And then you protect the men in your communities that sexually assault your own little girls, say like R. Kelly. Right? Say like a Bill Cosby. So I'm confused, black people, as a white person. I'm confused. Are you morally superior? Are you better than us or not is the question. And when black people got power, even though it's pseudo power, black Twitter, black Instagram, black YouTube, what did they use? They became just as racist as white people are. Okay? because it's pseudo power. It's not real power, but it's like now we got a voice. People could hear us. They became just as racist as white people are. Tell me I'm lying. I'll pass the mic to No Saint. I know you want to jump in.
Yeah, I do want to jump in because what I'm seeing. So I'm going to answer these questions. So I think that it's not. Pardon the pun. It's not black and white what we're talking about. So I think if it were a black cop, in the way that George Floyd was knelt upon, with the same guy sitting there saying, "Don't do drugs. This is what happens when you do drugs." In the same situation, there would have been outrage, as there is with the Memphis cops. But I will also say that yes, the fact that he was white also played in. There was a lot of stuff that played into the outrage of that. Now, what I hate about what George's friend said, because I got the same bullshit here, is I hate that it's that they're grabbing these opinions from right-wing media saying he was the first thing white people do in the media, the right-wing media, is look for a criminal history. What's the criminal history of the person that just got murdered?
My dad does that. My dad does that, and he's a dark skin. And he's a dark skinned Puerto Rican. He's a dark skinned Puerto Rican.
That's a one-off.
But listen.
Okay.
As if the guy that when he was, I'm not saying George Floyd, but the whatever black person that got killed that stole a bag of cookies deserves to die at the hands of police, right? So I understand where Dame's coming from. I do think the fact that he's white, it plays in the media, and that's what you're going to see on TV. We know that white cops kill white kids too. I mean, we know that. I mean, there's more white people in the country, so there's more, not per capita, but there are more white people getting killed by cops than black people, but not per capita. So I'm not going to distort the statistics. But yeah, I when George said that, it got on my nerves. Now, I'm not saying George Floyd should have had a statue, but you know what? Christopher Columbus shouldn't have had a fucking statue in this country either.
And what are they doing to his statues?
They should be taking the motherfucker down.
Right. They're taking them all down.
But I'm saying, but I mean, you could go through. What I'm saying is, you can go through history of everybody that has a statue and find a reason to yank that statue down, because nobody's Jesus Christ, if he even existed. So, but I do understand where Dame's coming from. But I do think race played into it too. I do think race plays into it because,
well, race sells more t-shirts.
Lily ain't speak, and I said we's going in terms.
Right. When I was thinking about it, in this sense, right? You're in the store, and you're disrespected, right, by a black man. That shit hits different when a white man disrespects you. That shit hits harder. You feel that, like, you got the nerve to, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, for me, the fact that guy was white hit hard, seeing that before I got to the blue badge.
You've probably seen racism up close and personal. If you lived in the South, in fact, I know you have. If you lived in Atlanta, okay. You know what they called MARTA, right?
MARTA is trash. We're going, what?
Right. That it was an acronym. They called it the racist white people moving Africans through Atlanta rapidly, or something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
it's something like that. So I get what you're saying, because you've seen this. One thing that for me, I don't know if y'all talked about this. Y'all were talking about Black identity. And one of the things I thought about when you get into that kind of argument, how are you going to define who is really black?
That's a good question.
I'm going to throw this out, and y'all are going to get a good kick out of this. But would you believe I went to 23andMe, pulled up my ancestry?
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ.
Would you believe?
Jesus Christ.
Y'all won't find it hard to believe that I'm 93% English and Irish and some odd percent Scandinavian, French, and German. But it gets real interesting. I am like 0.8% African American.
Fried chicken on me.
Power to the people, brother.
Fried
Oh,
chicken
wait.
on
And
I'm
I
me.
ready
call
for the next
myself
cookout,
black.
George.
Can I call myself black now? Right?
Oh
Okay,
my
now
goodness.
you going a little too
Answer
far,
is
George.
no.
Yeah.
George,
No,
George, slow down. Slow
I
down.
culturally identify even as a white person. See, so as y'all know, as y'all very well know, the interracial, whites, y'all get it. Thomas Jefferson and the descendants of Thomas Jefferson, all that kind of stuff. It gets down to, who's really black? Who's got the bona fides? Where do you cut it off? George at 0.8% saying, hey, I'm black.
No.
So the reason,
no.
wait a minute, real quick. The reason why I like that question is because even in the black community, people are always fighting about who's black and who isn't black. Is that not true? Is that not a fact?
Oh,
Some people say
absolutely.
some people the one drop rule. Tiger Woods is black this day, but not black this day. Halle Berry is all the way black, though her mother is white. Alicia Keys is black, but her mother is white. But Kamala Harris, she ain't black. She's Indian. So
East
even
Indian.
even within the black community,
My brother
everybody-
wants to say something after you, Jen.
okay, everybody wants to hold the patent to blackness. So it's a legitimate question. As ridiculous as it is, I'm 0.0. It's a legitimate question because even in our communities, were you black? You ain't black. Were you black? Well, she ain't black. Or you said something I don't like, then you ain't black neither. So that happens a lot. So let's not act like this question isn't legitimate
No,
now.
it's absolutely legitimate. I mean, this gentleman here is what he's like
No, it's
800.
not.
He's 800th black. So I guess what
8/10 of a
eight
percent.
tenths. Oh, okay. So you're like, what? Your toenail is black. Like
Yeah,
Outside of him.
I'll tell you what.
Hold on. I have a question for everybody.
Okay.
Where are y'all located at?
I
I'm
am
in
in
St.
Florida.
Hold
I mean,
on. I'm gonna stop with old lady here because I'm looking at the screen. So old lady over here.
You gonna call
Old
her?
lady.
He
Old
said,
lady.
I'm like, I don't see no old ladies up
Okay,
here.
My bad. I didn't say old lady.
It's the
I'm
edible.
saying Miss Lady
Jen.
Jen.
You're
So
an old lady. Damn.
I'm born and raised in New York. I'm on the West Coast now.
Okay. So now I'm asking.
That's no saying.
Yeah.
In the blue.
Yeah, no saying.
Yeah,
New Orleans.
no saying. Where you from?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I'm about to get on this one. Write down.
That's George.
George.
Nike.
Where you live at?
Jacksonville, Florida, northeast part of Florida.
Okay. All right.
Haran. He's New York, but he's in St. Louis. He just got to St. Louis.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then
I'm from Far Rockaway, Queens. Yeah.
and then who's that?
That's
I'm
that.
from
Where you from?
Oakland, California.
Oakland, California. Okay. All right. I'm gonna say you something right now. I've raised around where everybody loves everybody. You know what I mean? Got a white wife now and live in the South. It is freaking horrible for us in the South as a mix.
Mhm.
Because he is sitting right here with me. I have friends that live across the street, friends that live next door, friends that live, and it's a black community now. It used to be white. So all of a sudden, it's time for my kids to start hanging out with their kids. Who do you think is the most racist? That's what I'm gonna say. Who do you think is the most racist?
I don't understand the point.
I'm lost in the.
So I guess he's
Well,
saying,
I understand. I understand
Yeah,
what
with
you're saying.
his children being mixed, who does he get the most flack from?
Black people.
Oh,
Black
yeah,
people.
They're going to
Black
get it from
people
black
gonna get
people.
it.
They'll call them red bone. They'll
Hold on.
that stuff.
It all.
Dame.
No, hold on. I'm the same way. My children are biracial. Hey, brother, I got a white wife too. My kids are biracial. My kids are mixed.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is just like the difference is black people's are overt, white people is undercover. Black people will come to your face and say you mixed, you sell out, this kind of shit. White people will just talk to you behind your back. and plot on you behind your back to
So
fuck your
who's
shit
better?
up.
Who's better, Dame? Who's better? You like your racism
Hold
covert
on.
or
Hold on a
overt?
second. Are you really asking me?
I'm really
What,
asking you. Do you like it covert or overt?
Yeah, because we had a
I like it
conversation
over. I
earlier.
like it
It sounded like
over.
You like it overt.
I
Okay.
like it over. I want to know you don't like me.
right.
Okay. So
Okay.
that's
I
better
don't.
than
I don't. I don't
that's
care.
better than the overt.
So since you just said that, then okay. So they were being overt. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Black people would be overt in their
About
discrimination.
not liking that I'm in an interracial relationship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Think
Come
about
on.
it.
Land the plane.
So look. If you want to sit over here and say that, okay, they want to be overt, so
Mm-hmm.
they're going to sit back and tell you straight up, I don't like you. Am I right?
Something to that effect. Like you sell out. How come you didn't get a black woman?
And this has happened. This has
Blah
happened,
blah
Dane.
blah.
This has happened, Dane.
This has happened.
Okay.
This has happened.
No. I'm talking about. I'm living it right now.
Okay.
This has happened. This has happened. And the funny thing, it has not happened from strangers. It happened to people in my family. Who said it?
I ain't
So
gonna talk about family.
it wasn't what's called. It was people in the family who said all kinds of shit.
Oh, so you saying Thanksgiving? A couple of Thanksgivings was
It wasn't. It wasn't Thanksgiving. I'll tell you the situation. I'll tell you the exact situation.
Our family is the truth.
I'll tell you the exact situation.
That guy.
I remember, like I'd never met my biological father, but I've got in contact with my sisters on his side, my three sisters, about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 months after I found them, they said, "Come to the family reunion."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Bet, I'm there." I went to the family reunion, talk and everything. They're like, "Oh, are you married?" "Yep, married, got 3 kids." It was like, "Oh, can we see your kids?" I pull up my picture, my mixed picture, and it was like, "Oh, you got a white wife?" I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" "You from Cal?" "Oh, they do that kind of stuff in California a lot, don't they?" That kind of stuff.
I'm gonna sit here and say this though.
This is.
Hold on, where you at right now?
Well, I'm in Texas right now. I live in Texas, but I just moved. I just moved there. Yeah,
I'll tell you something right now. In the South, they do not care. They don't care. If you're light skinned, you're wrong.
Yeah,
and what I basically did was I made sure my kids was going to be in a racial school,
like mixed school.
Yes,
but you can only my kids, like my neighbors. My neighbor right now is a really a Mexican family who he owns a really big air conditioning and heating company. My next door neighbor is like an IT director. He's Indian. So I got a Nigerian across the street. So yes, but it's it's actually more people of color in this community than it is straight white people. But let me finish. I'm sending my kids to the best possible school. The majority, which is like 70% white, you can't always shield them. Somebody gonna get mad at my daughter for something and maybe call her a nigger. Somebody get mad at my son. If my son's better at something, or they like a girl they like them. One of my sons calls him a nigger. It could happen. I'm what you call it.
But the problem is though, this is what I'm trying to say is, why is the black more hateful towards us?
I'm not saying they're more hateful. I'm just saying they're more vocal. I didn't say hateful, more hateful.
I'm just going directly. They're more vocal. They're more separate. Yeah. You know what I mean? They separate once they see that I'm with a white woman. They separate. Once they see
I think that they're just as hateful. They just don't have power. But I think they're just as vitriolic and just as hateful. Because I'm telling you, the shit I've seen online is next level racism, and it's coming from Black people. So they're meeting white people with the racism, and now they can be vocal, just like white people have been vocal all this time. Just Black people don't have the same power that white people have. But I've seen wetback, you taco, you burrito eating bitch, you rice and beans, this and that. That's coming from Black people. Right, not from white people. So, and I'm sorry. Anchor baby. I've been called an anchor baby. So here's the thing. I'd rather my racist and my racism be covert, because white people have the knack for, now don't get me wrong, I don't want anyone stopping me from getting to the next level, and I'm gonna fight to get to the next level any fucking way, but I'd rather you not like me, whatever race you are, and just shut the fuck up. I think it's worse when someone is in your face telling you, you zebra, you black this, you white this, that's why you dark and charcoal, that's why you too light, don't nobody want you, you piss baby, you yellow bone bitch. That's way worse, in my opinion, than some white motherfucker who works in my office and doesn't like Puerto Ricans.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd rather they be covert.
I'd rather the person tell me they're going to stab me than just walk up and stab me.
Yeah, but nobody really stabs you. You're exaggerating a situation that's not going to happen.
What I'm saying, I'm using it. All right, let me tell you what I mean by that. What I mean was, there was a black girl who won valedictorian, right? She won. She got the best grade. She won valedictorian. White parents went and called the school, but behind her back, and made all these different threats and allegations. And the next thing you know, oh, we recalculated the thing. You didn't get valedictorian. We got to give it. Oh, no, you have to share it with this white guy because of some bullshit thing they made up. I would rather that person say, you won valedictorian. Somebody come like, fuck you, you fucking nigger won valedictorian, than somebody who has power to go and fuck up my situation behind the scenes where I have no fucking recourse.
Okay, so now you're mad at power then. But now you're mad at power. Because you're not mad at race, and now you're mad at power.
Because black people get the same power and they do the same thing.
No.
Hey, thank you, Lily. Thank you, Lily. Yes.
Black people get power and they stop other black people from being.
Look at the little what? They tried. Black people tried to destroy Chappelle. That was black people.
Who?
Okay, black people tried to destroy Dave Chappelle. That was black people.
How? What power did they have to destroy them?
They don't. It's pseudo power. I said it's pseudo power, but they damn sure tried.
I don't think there's such thing as pseudo power. You got power or you don't got power.
It's pseudo power.
Either you got power or you don't got power. There's
okay, influence. Who said influence? Influence. There you go. Influence.
But I'm just saying, how did they destroy? They made fun of them. They
lost. No, sir. No, we're not gonna sprinkle sugar on shit. He lost money. He lost jobs behind that. Let's not act like nothing happened to Chappelle.
What did black people do? I'm so confused. Tell me the context. What did he do? What did they do?
Are you serious? You don't know what happened to Chappelle? Are you serious right now?
Are you talking about recently or in the past when he left the show?
Recently. No, I'm talking about recently. I'm not talking about 20 years ago when he left the show. I'm talking about recently.
Oh, you're talking about the transphobic arguments and
there was a black woman leading the charge to destroy Chappelle, and she went on several shows, and she said she wasn't going to stop. A black woman, where you been?
Hold on. Okay. I hear you now. I get it. I get you saying. One black woman is not black people, just like you. One Puerto Rican woman is not Puerto Rican people.
No, I'm giving you one example. They did it to Terry Crews. They did. What are you talking about? They did it to Chrisette. They did it to Chrisette Michelle. Whenever
you can't sing a song.
Hello, this happens quite often, especially now with social media. I don't know where Dame be at. I'm in the real world. You said
can't eat for a goddamn right now.
You said one black woman, and I'm gonna let it back. I didn't say it was only her. I said she led the charge. Who was she leading? Was she leading black people?
Yes.
Everybody.
No, there was white people and black people she was leading.
Right.
Yes.
That's what she was leading. But this is the thing, right? This is I look at let's look at this situation right here, right? When we're given this money and this power and this influence, right? We can take what T.I. likes to call the Black Wakanda, right? Atlanta, right? We got all this black wealth and influence in Atlanta, right? And what do they choose to do with it? They choose to flaunt it, right? I got this, I got that. You broke, you don't got this, you don't got that, right? And a lot of them, like the T.I.s and the Killer Mikes, a lot of these people, they're from that city, Jeezy and Gucci and everything like that. What are they doing for their own city now that they got out of the hood, got this money, got this power, got this fame, got this influence? What are they doing for their community? So when given the opportunity, it's like, what do we really do to make a change for real?
I have asked the question, and using Atlanta as an example, what can Atlanta, based on what Lily is saying, and this is true, and what Ti is saying, can Atlanta be classified as a modern day Black Wall Street?
No,
Why not?
I thought about that actually.
Yeah, I've thought about it too.
because they're not
But I live
self-sustained.
for it. It's an illusion.
But
Tulsa
Dame,
was
Dame, let me.
Tulsa was
Dame,
self-sustained.
Dame,
Okay, very,
listen,
very good point.
I see what I hear what you're saying, Dame, and please educate me if I
I
don't
will.
know. Yeah, good. Feel free. But what I'm gonna say is, I mean, because I thought about this recently. It's kind of weird this came up. Like I thought, because I hear people talking about, well, and which is true, they bombed Black Wall Street, wiped it out, as if nothing else has risen since then. And I thought Atlanta is a pretty good example of having that power, and it's much bigger. So I'm just curious, like Black Wall Street, how? I mean, you don't.
What's the difference? What's the difference?
Well, I'm saying like, although it's a very important in history, do you think it was big? It's bigger than what Atlanta has done, like as far as wealth and influence in this country.
Well,
I
the
feel
point
like
he was making was
let
based
me
off-
make my own point. Exactly, like I said,
Yeah.
Black Wall Street in Tulsa and in Rosewood
Yeah.
they were self-sufficient. They could run their whole shit with zero influence of anybody that wasn't black. They grew their own crops. They had their own banks. They had their own mills. They had their own lumber companies. They did everything they were self-sufficient and self-sustaining. So black right now in Atlanta, they have influence, but they're not self-sustaining.
Right.
That's the difference.
And
Black people have
Atlanta is
significant-
white. Like Atlanta itself is white. The city of Atlanta and Fulton County is white. The outskirts is black.
So to your point, Dame, then to your point, they have influence. Do you believe that they've done a series of positive things, and do you think that they've done as much as could have been done with the influence that they have?
You know, I've only been to Atlanta to party, so I don't know.
And that's what they focus on.
For me,
and that's what they
Atlanta,
focus on.
I told y'all my Atlanta experience. I've seen the most niggerish shit I've ever seen in my fucking life in Atlanta.
Right.
Okay, I told y'all I saw a rusted out motherfucking Cadillac with hydraulics sitting on 22s. That shit had to be the most
telling you,
just ignorant shit I've ever seen in my fucking life.
That's why I left. That's why I left, because it was it was embarrassing a lot of times. It's like there's supposed to be this Black Wakanda and everything, but it was not what people think from the outside. And yes, most people come there to party because that's what they focus more so on, is the twerking and the parties and the hip hop and the strip clubs and it's like that. It's it's become very monolithic. So you can't compare that to a Black Wall Street who had banks and grocery stores, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's I don't like that comparison at all. Just I live there.
Also, to go back to what you said, Lily, I think there was such a unity and togetherness about Black Wall Street that's not in Atlanta.
It's a crab bucket.
There was also one thing that we're not talking about right here. There was dignity.
Yes. Yes.
There was fucking dignity. There was pride. There was a sense of
there was no Magic City.
Right. No, there was none of that nonsense. There was it's like, look, listen.
There was no pinups.
Look, our people used to dress in suits, man.
Right.
Our people used to have style. Our people used to have class. Our people used to have direction.
Right.
There was a time in our history where, regardless of what we went through, there was still this Black pride still, instilled in our community. I don't know. I'm trying not to be biased. Past our generation, I don't see it.
They don't even dress up
after
anymore.
our generation, I just don't see that. I don't see the strength in that particular degree of pride. I see a lot of shame. I see a lot of tactics to try to escape from blackness. On both sides of the fence. One of the things that I've seen is that people who become a part of the black middle class, who even become a part of the black upper class, they use it as a mechanism to escape blackness and rather than do their part to redefine blackness, they use it as a mechanism to escape it. And I think that just adds to the problem.
That's what I was saying earlier. The moment they get an opportunity, they use that to escape blackness or escape. It's a lot of things that I see. Like for instance, right? This started popping up on my YouTube at one point, right? And it was show like just videos from different parts of New York in like the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah,
And
Harlem used to be really nice.
Yes, that's what I was looking, and so I'm looking and I'm seeing black people and white people, and everybody walking through, and the first thing I noticed was something that Haran just said. I couldn't tell who was rich or who was poor, because those black people was dressed to the nines, like the pride that they had, the way that they stood, the way that they walked. It's like they were assured of who they were, right? And now what I see is this very monolithic baby hair, lace front, BBL, skin bleaching. It's the same. It's like it's getting so convoluted and weird at this point that I don't. And then you, like you said, on both sides, because on the male side you got the fresh and fit type with passport bro, forget black women. I need to get someone from across the seas and fuck black women. It's like, no, you can get someone from across the seas, but it don't have to be fuck black women. Like
Right.
Yeah.
So let me show y'all something really, really quickly. Really, we got to put a little good with all the bad.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys follow Black Menswear on Instagram, but it's basically a man who does flash mobs of hundreds of black men dressed in suits, dressed to the nines. This movement got so big that now he is going on tour. They're coming out here to Vegas. They're in Philly. They're in Atlanta. They're in New York City. And you've probably seen their videos in passing, but these guys are so freaking dope. Like all the way from children to men, all ages, and they're all suited and booted. The only thing you'd need to do, it's a 3-day event in every city that they go to, but it is literally hundreds of black men dressed to the nines, okay, from little kids to grown ass men. And now they're on tour, all right? And they are Black Menswear on Instagram. This guy grew this. I mean, I remember when he first started. Now he has 400,000 followers on Instagram. He just posted a video that he quit his corporate job because Black Menswear got so big. So follow them, find out when they're going to be in your city, because Black people are not a monolith, right? And I think it's going to get to the point where the people that aren't, the baby hair, long ass nails, the do-rags outside, the bonnets, you're going to have to separate. It's going to be imperative. It's the only way you're going to be able to survive, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But, there are people out there doing this. They're just not going to get as much attention as Future and Cardi B and Drake. So it's up to you to seek these people out because they are out there. They are out there. They just don't get as much support as all the assholes that we see shoved down our throat whenever we turn on the fucking TV or the radio. But it's Black Menswear, spelled out correctly, and it's on Instagram, and they're really dope. So I may visit them when they come out here. Yeah, they were in London. Oh, they're everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere.
I want to address something that Lily said about like how she would look at like the way it used to be, and it was everybody was dressed in the nines, and there was a sense of like pride and things like that. And just then that kind of segued into what you're saying. I think the difference now is from there is because the disparity between the household income, the income disparity has skyrocketed. The Black people are vastly richer than they were back then, and the poor people are poor as shit.
Cap.
So
I was about to say that's no excuse because we were
poor. No, hold on. No.
My mother said I will put together something out that.
I say like two things, and then it's just like this. Hold on. What I'm saying is, so what happens is the Black people who have the money are traditionally, I feel like they will be victimized by the black people because it's been the envy has been bred into the community so deep that now they will become the victims of the poor. It'll be eat the rich
Well, yeah. I
a
mean, if you're walking
situation.
around flashing like your wealth and in front of those people that you know don't have it, yeah,
But
you're
I mean, you
looking.
can't. I drive a nice car. I can't drive my nice car to the store because I'm worried about somebody who doesn't have a nice car going to carjack me. Or I can't. I worked my ass off and I got a nice watch. I got to always be on guard, the fact because I have a nice watch that somebody's going to maybe even end my life for this watch. I mean, it behooves you to kind of segregate yourself into. Think about Atlanta. There are communities of black wealth
Well, that's
that
what I
they can
just
kind of be a
said.
part
That's what
of.
I just said. I mean, a doctor who makes it out a trailer park doesn't pull up in his Benz and circle the trailer park just so the other people could see him in his Benz because he came up. So the doctor got to go back to the trailer park. So it's mentality. The reason why I call cap is because even in our neighborhoods, growing up in the South Bronx, Puerto Rican and black people, whether they were on welfare, food stamps, or Section 8, they were rolling up in $200 sneakers. Do not tell me they were not. They were rolling up. I had my little summer job. I'm like, how the fuck these motherfuckers rolling up in the polo shit and the Fendi and they going down to Harlem and getting the fucking
But
Gucci
they were
boots and
They
scamming and
stole
selling
it.
so
drugs.
They
so
They were
stole
so
it.
stop.
hustling.
So
They
stop. All right,
stole it,
but
Jen.
stop. No, but no, they were paying for this shit. So stop the cat. Not everybody was
But
a
they were the low
booster.
lives too, Jen. The low lives. They were basically a
But
gang that stole
okay,
polos.
but listen to what I'm saying.
I
My
understand.
Listen to what I'm saying. My point
Okay.
is, even when you're poor, you can look like something. What those people did, they
Absolutely.
did not go out and buy suits. They bought Jordans. They bought pants to hang behind their ass. They bought shirts or jackets they could wear. They bought the latest bonnets. So it's not about a money thing because even when they have money, it's the mentality. I gotta look like I ain't got shit. I gotta look like a degenerate. I'm with Lily. My grandmother was, I don't give a fuck if you got a penny in your pocket. You better look like something when you walk out this door. So it's not about a tax bracket because even poor people, I'm like, how the fuck you got Jordans on your feet? Them shits cost $200. I got a job and I can't afford $200 sneakers. So it's not about, the
It's
disparity now in the finances. And that's why,
And,
well,
and
it
what's
is.
funny is
men
now that
can't
I got
afford,
and what's
No,
men
funny
no.
is
can't
now that
afford
I got
suits.
The sport
what's funny is now
disparity
that I
is
got a
the.
little money, I go to the thrift store and get my shit,
Hold on,
and I
hold
still
on.
look like
My
something.
thing's about to die. I'm gonna go grab some headphones real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. If we look at some of the photos from Black people in the 1930s and the 40s and even the 50s, I mean, I've seen some suits on some of these people and some dresses on some of these people. Them shits was clean as hell.
Look at Jack
And I've
Clean.
said
Johnson
like, God
from
damn,
the
that looks
early
amazing.
1900s. Jack Johnson.
Yo, it's amazing. Like, Duke Ellington, because I'm a big jazz buff. You know what I mean? Duke Ellington was big on never stepping to the stage without just everything being in order. I mean, the motherfucker's hair was in order. He had a freshly minted suit. It was impeccable. It was incredible. And there was just this culture of, regardless of where we are in this country, there was still this culture where excellence was important. Excellence
And
was
then
demanded.
and the thing is that the degeneracy is celebrated and it's monetized and it's celebrated and it's monetized and people applaud and universe forbid you make a suggestion to one of these boys or girls to pull their pants up or take that bonnet off. Universe forbid, okay? Universe forbid you tell somebody to look like something when they walk out their door.
You know what's really funny about Cosby, Bill Cosby situation? People have such strange memories. I recall there was a time when Bill Cosby was really heavy on the pound cake speeches and pulling your pants up and so on and so forth. And everyone in
I
the black
remember that.
community was, yeah, everybody in the black community was hateful towards that man and so
Yes,
on and
they
so
were up
forth.
in
But
arms,
the moment he was a black man in court,
Yeah.
all of a
hang,
sudden,
hang him at high noon. Hang
you
him.
know what I'm saying? They had all of a sudden, no, the moment he was a black man in court, a lot of
Oh,
brothers actually stood on his side.
oh, you
Yeah,
talking
they
about when he got
did.
to
You know what I'm
court?
saying?
Yeah,
A lot
when
of
he got
black
to
people stood
court.
on
Yeah.
his side because he was a black man
Well,
in front of
we
the
like to
firing
free
squad.
somebody. We like to free
Oh yeah,
somebody.
that's his whole thing. So it's just like, this is, I mean, if you ever
Yo,
want to get
he even talked about the names. He was like, "What is this, Shaniqua, Shaquana? What is
yeah,
these names?"
exactly. Yeah, he was really he was going in. But you know what I learned about in our community, and it's a topic within itself. when it comes to the law and the judicial system, there's this unspoken culture where we want to see all white people be punished and all black people not go to jail, even if they did something wrong.
Yep.
And it just can't move like that. You know what I mean? If there is to be justice, it should be justice and equally distributed.
But again, that's what. But that goes back to what George said. That's what goes back to George said. What George said, because it's like, if you're going to crucify the white person for blah blah blah, and then people from the outside, not just white but Latin too, when we see you defending R. Kelly and R. Kelly victimized your own people, it causes some confusion. So it's like pedophiles, rapists.
Even in this particular situation with the police situation. In a lot of ways, the subtext of this is that a lot of black people are blaming this on white supremacy instead of blaming it on the erratic behavior of 5 cops. It was 5 cops. If I recall correctly.
5.
The erratic behavior, the violent and vicious behavior of 5 animals.
Yeah.
We just have to put this racial component in there because we just need to basically say that we, even under those circumstances, we're still the victim. Even if we victimize other people, this is happening because we're a victim of the system.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that they're blaming it on white people. They're blaming it on cops. They're blaming it on cops.
I'm hearing this.
I'm not hearing that they're blaming what happened to Tyree Nichols on white people.
I've heard this.
Look up. What's his name? Piers Morgan. There's a black woman from London there breaking down the reason why those black cops did that, and she's a black woman, is because of white supremacy. Look it up because it's all up and down my timeline. It's all up and down my timeline.
All I'm saying is,
thank you.
I don't want to make the one off, the outlier. The exception is not the rule.
Single black mothers, yeah.
Exception is not the rule. All I'm saying is, en masse, when people were protesting, when the cop who came on here, was people were protesting, and you look at the protests on the news, nobody is screaming anything about white supremacy. They're screaming about police reform. Even the cops were saying.
Well, the people marching is not the rule. The people marching is not the rule, Damien, because it's all up and down my timeline. It's on CNN. It was on Piers Morgan. Black people are saying the reason why that happened was because white supremacy, and the black cops were showing out for white supremacy. They are a tool. They are. Then exactly. Why would you say something so stupid? But she was on Piers Morgan speaking straight English, saying, had it not been for white supremacy and black cops showing out for white supremacy, they would have never done that. She completely absolved them.
Like I said,
there's marches.
It's not an outlier. It's not an outlier.
I don't think that's the narrative that black people are saying. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. There are 3 people on the panel right now telling you we've all seen it on programs and we've all seen it on our timeline, and you're still saying black people aren't doing that. Yeah, I don't see it in mass. I don't see black people in mass saying that.
Let's go. You're seeing people march.
People were saying when George Floyd died, black people in mass, black and white people in mass, that this was a racist situation.
No. I'm not talking about George Floyd. I'm talking about the recent. I'm talking about
Tyree Nichols. The black people marched, and black people have been talking on TV. His family said shit about it being racist. His lawyer said shit about it being racist. The people in the department, the people who are against it, even our boy who came on, who's a trooper, said shit about it being racist. He said it about being ill-trained people, ill-trained dudes who should have never been cops in the first place.
Okay, you're
people.
Thank you.
People who are saying otherwise. And again, 2 things can be true. Okay?
Lots of people.
I'm not saying that you did not see that. I'm saying us 3 are saying that we saw this. Okay. You know what I mean? And I saw it 101 times. Yeah, my brothers were actually saying that the reason that they did it, a number of brothers were saying that the reason that they did it was that they were showing out for what for their white brethren, for their white coworkers. And I just stepped out of it.
Me too. I saw it so many times that I was thinking,
I stepped out of it because there's so much confirmation bias being challenged in that situation, and we can all agree that no. This was not approached with the same ferocity and the same fire in the belly.
I found the video.
that we had for George Floyd, that we had for Abu Diallo, have we had for the thousands, the hundreds of blacks who actually have that we know of that actually were suffered at the hands of police brutality.
So I found it. Tyre Nichols' killing was racism. Zuby debates Black Lives Matter activists on Piers Morgan's show. She's not the only one. There are several videos like this where Black people are going in the public saying, had it not been for white supremacy, these Black cops would not be acting out. They are not outliers. It was all up and down my timeline. Lily saw it. Haran saw it. Damien didn't see it at all.
There's Black people that got mad that they got fired.
Piers Morgan saw it.
Like I said,
Piers Morgan saw it.
Over in London. He's seen it over in London.
That narrative is going to go nowhere, and it's going to fizzle out.
But it exists. You can't. Now you're moving the goalposts. First it didn't happen. Now it happened, and you're like, it's just going to fizzle out. It doesn't matter. It does matter.
It didn't happen, or I don't. But
this is why it's not. Okay, but listen. But this is why it's not going to fizzle out. This is why it's not going to fizzle out.
Racism,
because right. This is not going to fizzle out because it's not the first time that people do this. It's not the first time. Bill Cosby, white women are trying to get him. Okay? R. Kelly, had it not been for the white record label owners, R. Kelly wouldn't have ran rampant for so long. This is not going to fizzle out. This is the argument every single time. These are not outliers. This happens every single time that people want to absolve Black people from criminality. This is not, it happens every single time. And that's why I ask, where you been?
Yeah.
That you never see this.
I get CNN on my TV all the time, so I don't know. I read that.
Do you hang out with a lot of white people or something, Damien? You miss a lot.
Oh, I was going to say this, and then I got it.
What does that have to do with anything?
But you miss a lot. You miss everything else that everybody saw.
Informed about Black issues if you hang out with all Black people.
You'd be better informed.
You'll be better informed. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are ridiculous with that one.
Hang out with me, Dave.
Nah.
Yeah,
right.
I won't say that. I will say though that you have to consider that what we're saying, there's some validity to that. I will say that it's because you hang around with a bunch of white folks. I don't even know if you hang around a bunch of fucking white folks.
I just moved to Texas. I hang around with my family that's out here, and they're all Black.
So I'm not saying. What I will say is that consider that, this is actually happening.
Of course, people gonna try to use anything to further
I'm not saying that
there's people trying to use it to further their position. Like they say, oh my God, this will solidify and further my personal belief and personal position.
Absolutely,
try to grab onto it.
It's still a toxic narrative. Absolutely, but it's still a toxic narrative. The masses really saying that. But when yes, the people. There's enough people saying.
If people on TV said, the people at home are saying.
Look at this. Wait, Van Jones. You said you watch CNN. You said you watch CNN?
I even follow, if you check it, I even follow Van Jones.
Okay, check this out. Well, Van Jones said, look at what Van Jones says since you follow. Van Jones. You said you follow him?
Respect in the Black community.
Okay. Well.
That's about the most buck dancingest Negro I've
ever
seen.
Exactly. So Van Jones.
But I just want
to hang out with more Black people if you say Van Jones.
No, but here's the thing. You said you watch CNN, not me. You said you watch CNN. Okay. So on CNN that you claim you watch, not me. I don't watch CNN. Van Jones said the police who killed Tyre Nichols were Black, but they were still driven by racism. You said you watched CNN and you missed that? You missed a lot.
I didn't. I did not see Van Jones on CNN.
Okay, well, CNN right here. What Van Jones thinks about Black officers charged in Tyre Nichols' case on CNN, the show you watch. I don't watch CNN. So you should be more well-versed than me.
Like I said, I don't watch CNN every minute of the day.
They're removing it again.
I'm just saying I don't watch CNN to know who's going to be in it every minute of the day.
I don't watch it. I watch CNN. Well, he said it on CNN. Well, I don't watch it every day.
I've never seen Van Jones on CNN talking about this subject.
There are Black people on CNN talking. Well, I don't watch that particular Black person because nobody respects that one.
Like I said, Van Jones is not the person that people give a lot of credit to what he's saying. So
just Google Tyre Nichols and racism, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of videos.
I'm sure you will. But
you said it was the outliers. You said it was the outliers. You haven't seen it.
If 100 people say it, in my opinion, when people sit in their living rooms, they are thinking them niggas just brought to beat that nigga ass. They ain't thinking racism. They ain't thinking that. They're like some black dudes who were pussies who couldn't get this dude to submit to them, jumped them like any black dudes would jump another dude who ran up on their set. They viewed him as an op and they beat his ass because he was not kowtowing to their authority. That's what people are saying. That's
okay. No. That's what some people are saying. But the people in media and a lot of other people on social media, on my Facebook and on Instagram, I don't know if they're saying it on their couch or not, but they're also saying that it's because of racism and the black cops are showing out for the white cop. To the point, did we not all ask, was there a white cop there?
Right, we did.
Yeah,
where was the white?
Like we had one white cop and like 10 black cops, and they're just like, oh, that white cop.
But you know what? The point is that this is a consistent thing when a black person does something like vile. Like we got R. Kelly, we got because people will still beat you up about R. Kelly right now. Okay, we got OJ, we got Bill Cosby, we got T.I.
R. Kelly,
we got R. Kelly.
T.I.
So many people that it's like. We will defend
put it this way. If our government or our judicial system was disproportionately black, all the criminals would be out. Mm-hmm. They would all be out.
Free Pookie and Ray Ray.
They would all be out. They would all be running the streets because we suffered through slavery. They would all be out.
Yeah, that's cap.
They would all be out.
That's cap. That ain't.
I mean, okay.
Well, you watch CNN and don't watch CNN. You watch this black person, but now that, so I can't even count what you say.
If there was enough black people in that kind of position, and enough black people had that kind of power or that kind of prestige in America, then we wouldn't be letting motherfuckers out.
But what if was a spliff, we'd be all fucked up. It ain't that way. I mean, it is the way it is.
They wouldn't be doing
so Haran, let me ask you this.
Has like free such and such and free such and such.
Right. Thank you. So let me ask you this: with all the people that do what Lily said, free this one, knowing damn well their cousin, Pookie, Tyrone, whatever, right? Hurt somebody, they still put free such and such, or we're selling drugs or doing something illegal. Free such and such.
For a reason. I'll tell you the reason.
Wait a minute.
I'll tell you the reason.
Wait a minute. So all the people defending R. Kelly to this day, and he didn't even it's not like he even committed crimes against other men. He committed crimes against little girls in your own community, little girls, and women and men are still fucking hella massive. Well, I ain't gonna stop listening to his music and I'm still stepping in them. You think if all those people were empowered, they wouldn't be freeing these motherfuckers? Because slavery happened when okay.
Absolutely not. And you know why?
Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I disagree.
You calling black people really obtuse. You're making us a monolith now that we're just.
No, I'm not making you a monolith. No. First of all, you are emotional, but I say this, I've always separated the black community. I've always separated the black community. There are two demographics.
But now you're lumping us together.
No, I'm not. I am talking about the people talking about free such and such. I made that clear, did I not? The people that are saying it in their bio, the people that defend Bill Cosby, the people that defend R. Kelly, okay? The people that defend these 5 cops because it was white supremacy. I'm talking about them specifically. I didn't say all, but do I have to put this up 3 hours in? Really? I didn't say all. I specifically said those people that are like, free Ray Ray. Well, didn't Ray Ray shoot 2 old people in the bodega? Yeah, but he don't need to be locked up because, white supremacy and shit.
But didn't you say that if black people were flipping black people in trouble, all the criminals would be out? That's all, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't say all. Stop trying to move the goalposts because you're looking bad tonight.
If black people were in these positions of power,
yes, the ones that I'm talking about.
You said all the criminals would be out.
Yes, the ones that I just said.
Not some
listen to me. No, okay, listen to what I just said. You can't. You'd be a horrible prosecutor.
She was using a particular kind of black.
Thank you. He's very selective. He's very selective with his hearing. He's very selective. He's very selective.
Answer her point. I just want to answer her point. The people that she was using, the kind of black people that she was using, those black people, they are where they stand on these kinds of issues because these motherfuckers are broke. They ain't got shit to lose.
Yeah.
Okay?
They're fixed, and they're fixed.
People who penalize stuff, they want their heroes to be free.
Get those same black people, and I've seen it happen. Get those same black people and put a couple of racks in their pocket, put a couple of things in their life that
but they don't represent the majority of black people.
I bet you damn straight those motherfucking opinions that get wiped out and they whole stroll.
They would not make it to be in those positions because they are not educated and informed enough to make it to those positions. The black people who would be in those positions would probably be a little bit more educated, smart, and be a little bit more.
But if they were.
I mean, if KKK were the president of the United States, black people would be hanging from trees.
But if they were, yeah, but you just took what I said a minute ago literally. So why I can't take what you're saying literally? If they were in those positions and they had more money and more status, yeah, they would. They would.
Celebrities were in the position. If the judge in the R. Kelly case, the R. Kelly fan, and didn't recuse themselves, you're right. Maybe there would be a linear sentence if they were a R.
Oh, he'd be free after he molested 12-year-old little black girls. He'd be free.
I don't know about that.
Before he went to prison this time, he skated a few times before this time. Let's talk about that.
He did. Yeah, he did. He skated a few times.
R. Kelly? Yeah. Well, they couldn't arrest him because the person they couldn't build a case against him.
No, he skated because he was making a lot of people money.
Right.
Yeah. They couldn't build a case, and the 15-year-old girl who he peed on left the state and nobody could find her because he paid her to leave.
No. Haran is right. Let me tell you something. Do y'all not notice when he finally stopped skating is when he finally stopped producing records? When he finally stopped making money, that's when everyone jumped
true behind the scenes. I'm telling you, Dave, this is behind the scenes.
All I'm saying
this is what. Wait 1 second. This everyone in the chat, listen, and I know, Lily can. I know she's probably heard some things and been in some conversation. That man was not being touched because he was making people money.
Yep.
This was understood. It was understood that you do not put hands on him because he's making us he's making us hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep.
We're letting him go.
Yep.
Period.
Once his music stopped selling and they stole his publishing and he had no more money to pay people
That's
off,
bullshit.
it was
That's bullshit. He was not what's called, because you know what? The justice system loves to tear a successful black man down.
But he's been skating since the 90s.
To do that.
Dane. He's been skating since the 90s. The first time we heard about
that's why Bill Cosby finally got locked up when he was half dead.
I was just about to say.
Even though he got pulled in, but the judicial system loves tearing black men down.
That's the first time that Bill Cosby was really in some shit.
No,
we've been talking about Bill back in the 80s.
But how many people came forward to actually seek an indictment, to press charges on him?
Go forward.
Zero until that.
That's not true. There was a woman. No, there was a woman before that one lady.
And there
was a woman
way back. And she dropped the case.
Remember Wendy?
Yeah, but she came forward.
But she paid off and he dropped the case. She was like, here's some money. She was like, Bill Cosby who?
Yeah, but you don't know how those have you ever heard how those conversations go down? And how they coerce those women and how they tell those women you are going to be re-victimized and dragged again. What do you want to do? They intimidate them and they pay them off and those women disappear.
But what happened? The reason Bill Cosby went to jail is because he did a deposition and the DA at the time said, you know what, just tell us what happened. We promise we won't use it against you. We just need to know what happened. She's not pressing charges, but we need it for the record to know what happened. He admitted, he didn't lie. I gave her Spanish fly. I did give her a Quaalude. I gave her a drink, blah, blah, blah. And they was like, thanks, Mr. Cosby. You may go. A new district attorney came in and said, hold up. I'm going to prosecute on that thing. He said, I don't give a damn what the agreement was with the other DA. I'm going to prosecute. Prosecuted, got found guilty. Then the Court of Appeals filed what was called, where they said, wait, we got this agreement. And they was like, oh, you can't go back on the agreement that you made. Let that motherfucker out of jail. That's why he went to jail. How many
decades after the first accusation? I'm just curious, since the judicial system loves tearing down black successful men, how many decades after the first accuser?
I don't know.
How many? Because I remember Wendy telling the story in the 90s. I remember Wendy telling the story in the 90s and how she got reprimanded for talking about all of these accusations. She talked about it in the 90s and on the radio show, and got called and during the commercial break got called out. You know what I'm saying? And reprimanded for that. So this man skated for decades.
But you know what brought him down? Hannibal Buress did a joke about him. Hannibal Buress was on his comedy show, and he did a joke. He was talking about how Bill Cosby was talking about him. He was like, "Well, you rape people," and everybody laughed and stuff like that. And the woman who he had sexually assaulted saw that shit and realized that everybody knows. And then all these other women was like, "He did this to me too. He did this to me too." And then they revisited it because Hannibal Buress, that everybody let it go.
Where can I read that at? Where can I read that at? Where can I read that at?
Look, Hannibal Buress.
She said that. No, I know about the joke. I know how all of that went down, and D.L. Hughley did something similar too. I'm saying, where can I read that she heard that and said, "Oh, everybody knows."
Yeah. Tracy Morgan did something.
I think because everybody has known for decades about that. Man. Everybody,
but nobody said anything. Nobody. There was no.
They have been saying stuff.
I heard. What's called? Jen. I heard that. I heard the everybody knows. I got that from D.L. Hughley. So if she didn't specifically say that or said what's called, that's where I got that information about that.
For decades,
so the same thing you saw.
Weinstein, and he was let, they let him rock, they let him cook. Why? Because he was making Hollywood millions.
Right.
There was a time when they used to call that dude God. Literally, they used to refer to that man as God. And then after a while, when he outgrew his usefulness, all of a sudden the accusations were allowed to come to the forefront, and they basically obliterated that man.
Yeah, it's the same with all of them, like Weinstein, Epstein. There just comes a time where it's like your turn is over. You need to go because you're going to fuck everybody else up.
He was still making them money, but it was just so egregious that they couldn't let it go. It was just like...
No, my point is that Weinstein was getting accused for decades as well. And then they came to a point...
People made jokes about it. People would make jokes about it. Like, I remember, what's her face from Hole, the lead singer from Hole was married to Kurt Cobain.
Courtney Love.
Yeah, she made a joke. It was like, what advice would you give somebody coming up? There's like, if Harvey Weinstein invites you to a party, don't go.
I remember that.
On the red carpet.
I remember that. Oh, so George had to go. He didn't even say goodbye. See, we let the white people not talk for too long. Look what happened.
You and your ethnic chatter.
Right.
First of all, can I ask a question? Would anybody pay $9,000 for Beyonce tickets? That was supposed to be the topic tonight.
I was waiting for that.
I'm not even a goddamn dime. Not a billion.
I showed up an hour late. What the hell were y'all talking about, man?
I think we talked about it a little bit, right, Lily?
I missed that part.
2 sentences, or maybe a paragraph.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it much.
I want to pay $9,000.
I gotta be on stage, dancing and singing with her, and then she got
I'm gonna need her to resurrect. I'm gonna need her to resurrect Michael, Whitney, and Prince on stage.
Man, listen, and maybe I might pay after that.
In their prime.
In their prime.
Yeah. I'm not trying to see cracked out.
It better be a live
Michael and
Prince versus Lionel Richie. No, I'm kidding. Michael Jackson versus Lionel Richie.
No.
I'll come dressed as Mike, and you can come dressed as Lionel Richie.
Oh my!
So $9,000 for floor seats. People are doing GoFundMe's. People are selling property. True story. If you go to GoFundMe, they're doing GoFundMe's. They're selling properties. There was a girl crying because she was stuck between paying tuition and getting tickets for Beyonce. Like, it's real.
They're gonna pull what's her name? Amber Rose.
She was stuck. No, that's not stuck. That's not the definition of stuck. The definition of stuck is you got 2 kids and you got to save one of their lives. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do a Sophie's Choice up in this motherfucker.
Which kid lives and the other one dies? That's stuff.
Man, it's funny. Women gonna be pulling like Amber Rose. Did you see Amber Rose tweet when she was like, "Who asked do I got to lick to get tickets to the Super Bowl?" she did a tweet saying that.
Her DMs are full today.
There gonna be a lot of women putting that out there. Like, whose balls do I got to lick to in order to get tickets to see Beyonce? It's gonna be a bunch of Saudi princes.
I've been saying this about Jay and Jay.
Look
and
what Dawn said. Dawn said no. Tuition or tickets, get the tickets.
See, so she's not deflecting.
Right.
She's not torn. See, she's got her priorities already in order. So.
Hey, if there's any Saudi princes out there watching, you got a rare opportunity right here. There's a lot of women who will be some strange for a little bit of change.
This is a very rare opportunity.
You don't even have to have no money no more. Just get them Beyonce tickets.
You know, I mean, 9,000 for one ticket. So if you're going with somebody,
yeah, you definitely need to get over to Dubai as soon as possible.
Can you imagine, like, I mean,
everybody's getting OnlyFans. Everybody's getting OnlyFans.
Oh my God, man, that's it. Hey, look, listen. You. There's an opportunity for your OnlyFans to come out, and you can have these girls doing all kinds of shit. Like, look, you want
Beyonce tickets,
girl. You want them tickets or not, girl?
Oh man,
what you willing to do?
All of these like YouTube like pranksters and that make a shit ton of money. I'm willing to bet there's gonna be a video of somebody doing something ridiculous for Beyonce tickets. The Jake Pauls or the.
They already started the memes. They have that scene in Set It Off where Jada Pinkett was sleeping with that older guy.
To ironically put her brother through college.
Yes. Ironically. They're already sharing that meme talking about I need these tickets. I'm like, no.
Fuck college. I need to go see Beyonce.
No Saint. Do you have something to say?
Everybody be quiet. No say for the next 10 minutes.
As far as the subject goes, I mean, no. The part of the thing in the title was, do you think, or you were talking about, was it inflation? People are going to say it's inflation. No. So this is something that I get really irritated with because, back in our day, we wanted to go see a concert. We'd go stand out in a line, and wait 3 or 4 hours, buy tickets. Well, those days are over. So now you have corporations, professional ticket scalping going on. And that's in not just Beyonce. Okay, Beyonce is extreme. Super Bowl is extreme. But I mean, every game, any game you go to, any concert you go to, you're overpaying now because somebody wants to make it's either a company or a person that'll buy season, say for football or basketball, season tickets, sit there and resell them like to big games and make a ton of money. Like tonight, the Lakers played here in New Orleans, and those tickets were selling outrageous. For a while there, they were like $500, $600, $700 for like tickets you could normally get for maybe like $100, right? Because LeBron James might have broken he had a chance of breaking the record. So those tickets were just outrageous. But people do that. I know people that buy season tickets to some of these, and then they'll sell just to pay off this, they'll go to a few games they want to go to, but they'll sell the rest to pay off next year's season tickets. But no, that's what's going on is like it's the companies that have computer bots or whatever that buy up all the tickets and then resell them for a profit. So the common fan is never going to really have the advantage anymore. And when it comes to concerts like you're talking about with Beyonce, it's ridiculous. And I would never, I don't care I don't care if it was Prince coming back to life, one show only or something like that. I'm not paying those $9,000.
Back from the dead. Back from the dead.
One night only.
One night only. The resurrection. But when I went to research this a little bit, I went to Ticketmaster, and they do have a section, a step you have to go through before you buy the tickets, because they said they don't want people to resell tickets and they want the fans to get tickets. So you do have to register and put your information in before you even purchase the $9,000 tickets if you want good seats. But they got cheaper seats for $500.
They learned from that Taylor Swift shit. That Taylor, they had to go in front of Congress over that Taylor because they fucked up that Taylor Swift shit so bad. They had to do they pulled them in to talk about what the fuck went wrong with that shit. But I'm gonna bet that Beyonce concert, every show is sold out.
So this is
but why $9,000 though? Like, make it make sense.
Because they can.
For years, them two are not going to leave a dime on the table. I don't care if how many billions they get. They have always given me that they are not going to leave a dime on the table. And then they cosplay as these woke, pro-black, we are with you. No, you're not, bitch. No, you're not. Like, our tax brackets look a little different. You know, our struggles look a little different. So, like, it's like I love their music. I love part of their come up. It gets a little iffy after, you know, because I just have a theory about billionaires. I'm sorry, I just do.
What is it? What is it?
I don't think they should exist, and I don't
Too
think
much
black
money
white
going people out.
You said billionaires?
Billionaires.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's black, white, or whatever. Like, why?
Yeah, I feel the
500
same
million,
though.
it's all the same, you know. So there's better things. Like, how do you feel okay with that? Like, that's just me. I wouldn't feel okay being a billionaire.
What about?
I'd be all right with it.
What about pastors?
What do you mean?
What about them?
Pastors that like have like $1 billion,
Anybody,
like $1 million.
Anybody, shit. I don't like
Anybody.
All that.
See, but it's hard to say that.
Y'all would be mad at me if I had $1 billion?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll be talking about you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, but hold up. It's
Okay, what if I
easy to
cut you
say
$10
that
million
because you don't
check,
have
though?
$1 billion.
Then you know,
If all of a sudden,
basically means as long as I share what I have with you, it's
No,
all good.
no, not with me. Share it with somebody. It ain't gotta be me.
Right.
Share it with somebody.
but it's always easy to criticize when we are never in that position.
Well, no, I'm
Because
gonna tell you why I can criticize, because I'm not in that position and I give. So that's why I can say that.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
but if all of a sudden, let's just say you started a makeup line that all of a sudden went bigger than Fenty, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, in the next 5 years, you are a billionaire. You would not have a problem with billionaires.
No, I'll probably be a billionaire for about 24 hours. And I'm giving it away. I don't need it. That's the point. I do it now. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
I've been doing it my entire career. So I can say that. Because that's what I truly believe. I don't believe that they should exist. I just don't. Why? When we got so many things that could be taken care of.
And there are billionaires that give away hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, so we can't.
$1 billion a year. That's what
You can still have generational wealth.
And Bezos' ex-wife too. Bezos' ex-wife too.
Yeah.
You know, so you can tell, like, you can. I think money is like liquor. It enhances who you already are. Right. It brings out all shit. Here come, you know what I mean? You become uninhibited. I can't see myself being a billionaire knowing I'm not going to live forever. That's one, but all the pain and suffering that's in the world. And I'm running around with $1 billion, you know, chauffeur driven Rolls Royce. And then what? And then I go home to my mansion. And then what?
It's like
how much am I going to buy?
That ribeye is going to taste amazing when you get home to your fucking mansion.
Right, but and then what? How many times am I going to have ribeye?
Right.
And then what?
As many times as you want it. That's the point.
No, but see, but you're speaking from a place of someone that doesn't have it. Ribeye to a billionaire is a fucking filet mignon to us at a decent restaurant. So, you know, you get tired. People get. Why do you think these millionaires and billionaires are jumping out of windows? Obviously, money ain't the answer.
It's not the answer.
I totally understand what you're
now, I want some money. Don't get it twisted. I want some money.
Let's be clear about that. But what
no. I understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying. You're not saying there's something wrong with being rich or wealthy.
No.
You're
or
just
generational wealth. Generational wealth is great. All of that.
There comes a point where it's just like, okay, this is overkill. This is
overkill.
More than what any human being can actually do with at any given time. However, I'm here to say, so what? It's like,
a lot of people say
$10 billion. If I was worth $10 billion, I wouldn't scoff at it. You know what I mean? Would I give money away? Absolutely. I would give to organizations. I would build things. I would actually do shit with my money. I would actually create opportunities and so on. People make sure I was worth billions of dollars though.
People always ask why don't and this is like Bernie Sanders says this a lot. If the 1% of the 1% paid more in taxes, we could eliminate all of the social. We could have money to fund for cancer research. We could have money to feed the poor. We could have money for everything, what have you. That's a pretty significant, consistent refrain from those real hardcore liberals. But the thing is, anytime there's somebody willing to give away, there's always somebody willing to be shiesty and take it and sneak and steal it. So it's tough to be like, I'm going to give my money to the Red Cross, and then next, you know, the CEO, the director of the Red Cross was heard to have embezzled $50 billion. So you got to work. You really have to be due diligence to be like, what can I give to that's not going to make a situation worse?
Okay, so first of all, giving it the taxes and giving it to the government is going to make a situation worse. Okay, that's number one. Number two, yes, like when you have money, especially that amount of money, some money's going to slip through the cracks. People are going to steal. Okay, so the way, you know, my view is, and it's still going to be money that's going to slip through the cracks. Please be clear about that. But Haran said, you create something yourself that is of your own. You say where that money goes. You see where your money goes. You see the people that are getting helped, right? You don't just give the money away because somebody's gonna be like, oh, thank you, we'll help them. You know, so you don't do it that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I kind of do it in that way, so I can I see where what my money does.
And charities are a dog and pony show anyway.
They're dog and pony show. It's a lot.
You can just write that off on your taxes. Ain't nobody losing a goddamn thing.
And how do you? And the funny thing is, what happens is it's difficult because what happens is okay, I'm gonna give it to cancer research. All right,
I'm not.
Then Feed the Children is gonna come to me, but how come? Why is cancer research more important than Feed the Children?
Fuck all them hoes. I ain't giving it to nobody. None of them.
That's the thing. It's just somebody said, and this is pretty cavalier.
If you build yourself, it
was pretty cavalier. This person to say that he was like, giving money to charity is like feeding pigeons. It's like once you drop that one breadcrumb, 20 pigeons gonna come to try to get a piece. Yeah, it was and who wants to deal with 20 pigeons?
And I think we've all been especially in the entertainment business, we've seen how they encourage you to do it because it looks good. It pushes you up in the upper echelon. Like they love to see you give. It's not about giving. It's about looking good. It's about writing off of your taxes. But no one's really getting help. And then when you give it to cancer research or Susan B. G. Komen or whoever the fuck you give it to, yes, they're gonna line their pockets with it. So you have to create it yourself.
And they give each other humanitarian awards.
Yeah.
You know, they suck each other off every fucking year.
I've been to those galas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And everybody's nose is up.
Right.
You know,
at the auction.
It's just like, but like I said, the only way you can ensure that shit is getting done is if you build your own shit. If you know that, okay, I am putting my money here, and I'm actually losing it.
Like LeBron did, like the school that LeBron did.
You know what I'm saying? A piece of that money, I'm actually losing a piece of that money by building this and doing that. To me, that is my way of saying, okay, I know I'm actually putting money into actually doing money.
And you're not going to be able to help everybody. No, you're not going to be able to help everybody.
Absolutely not.
No,
you most likely won't be able to help 5%. However, you're doing what you can. And you're doing a lot more than all these other billionaires and all these other, people who claim to give a shit and so on. But at the end of the day, it's your money. You do whatever the fuck you want with it. You know what I mean? We can all dispute. We can all say that Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or whosoever is a piece of shit because they don't do this or do that and blah blah blah.
No, saying I know that's you before I even check it.
You know what I mean? We can all sit there and say that.
We gonna close.
All I know is that, if I was in that position, I would make sure that I would do a number of things.
Of course. And on that note, in this very eventful night that we freestyled tonight. Wasn't shit. We freestyled, but we're gonna have these days. Yesterday was amazing. We're gonna have these days where we're just freestyling. We got some shit off our chest tonight, either way.
It came out nice.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I showed up late, just in time.
I mean, Dame be trying hard to get cut, but we still love him anyway.
We love Dame. We love Dame. We'll cut him and we'll patch you up too.
You ain't
We
afraid of
sure
the
That's how much
will.
we
sweat.
love you.
We sure
Dame
will.
is the Dame is
We're
the
not gonna let you
2000
bleed out. We're not
You
gonna
ain't
let you
afraid
bleed
of the
out.
sweat. Come
Dame
on.
is the 2023 ish.
Ah! I'm leaving.
Come on, man.
Ain't
Not
that
that
bad,
radical
man.
with it.
Nah,
No, Dame's not that bad.
nah,
No one's that bad.
nah.
No, but what I'm saying is
he
like
don't make
she,
excuses for black
the
men.
way
Now.
she goes
Right.
after
He
you
ain't making
sometimes.
Hey, I
excuses for
call it
black
how I
men.
see it. I'm a
Man.
multiple
Oh yeah, that's true.
equal
I do.
opportunity
I do.
offender.
No, that's true. I do. I do go after him. He gets on my nerves. He gets on everybody's nerves. But the nerves that Ish irks are different. It's like, come on, motherfucker. Like, you could walk up on a black man stabbing somebody and be like, but you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the reason why this black man is dissecting that other one is
We
because
laughing because we got a cousin that's just like that. I had just said the guy Ish would talk about is like our cousin TJ, right? And then you start giving the example. He's like, oh yeah, that's TJ.
yes,
Hold
the
on.
Honorable Louis
TJ?
Farrakhan.
TJ literally went to the hood club. He's the only light-skinned person in there. He literally had all the dark-skinned Geechee surround him. And he's giving them Black history. You know what I mean?
In the strip club?
Yes. And then all of a sudden, they look at him and go, how the hell do you know more than us? And you're the most light-skinned motherfucker
It's
in the
funny.
goddamn
I'm gonna tell you
club.
something. In my experience, the most pro-black people
It's
have
the
always
lighter
been
people.
light-skinned or biracial.
Yes. Yeah, light skin or biracial, yeah.
Like
I
Malcolm.
remember, I remember this one cat. My name is Mike B. He was very pro-black. Like, oh my god, I remember these two black women were fighting at the club. We were at the club, and he was like, "Come on, y'all mamas went up at the club fighting y'all. You know, we're talking about y'all making black people look bad up in here. You know, y'all mamas and aunties wasn't up here fighting in the club. You got to uphold their legacy of blah blah blah." And everybody was like, "Man, y'all Jewish."
Oops.
I mean, yo, Huey P. Newton was yellow as shit.
Is it
I mean,
overcompensation? That's a topic for another day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It
Some
might
of them
be.
it is though. Some of them I think it is. You know, I'm not speaking for all of them, but some. You see, I'm a brother that's in the middle. You know, when you're in the middle, you're kind of just like looking at two sides. Let's go at each other. But you know, for some dark, light-skinned people and mixed blacks who identify as blacks, I think that there's a bit of guilt that they struggle with. Because
Is it guilt or is it
privilege?
Is it guilt?
Wait a minute, there's a degree of privilege that they know that they have that they don't acknowledge.
I think they have to prove they.
I acknowledge my privilege. I acknowledge my privilege all the time.
If they live in the hood, hold on. If they live in the hood, I think it's more they have to prove themselves more. So they have to learn more and recite more and say more to show that they are down to be accepted.
But that's
Mike, the dude I know, he lived in the hood and he had to prove himself every day that he was a black dude every day. So he learned everything about it and he went 100% into it.
That's rooted in guilt. That's rooted
He's
in
not guilty. He just wanted to survive.
Well, you know, I would say this. I'm not going to speak on his, but I see that and I've spoken to people who are light skinned who are also mixed. Some of it is rooted in guilt. A lot of it is rooted in guilt, based on my own observations. Also, I see these things. Like I said, there's a degree. This is such a layered topic.
It's layered.
Yes, and we're going into 3 hours 40 minutes. Let's wrap it up. Let's thank the white people that visited.
Exactly.
We're playing the music now. Thank you, white folks, for coming on the panel. You guys are brave. We appreciate you because we are a tough fucking crowd.
Come visit Beaufort, South Carolina.
No.
Yeah.
He said no.
Look up Robert Smalls.
And thank you to the brother. We appreciated his input as well. He came right
Good.
in. Like,
it's really good edibles. It's really good.
we saw. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you here probably
Good
on
night.
Tuesday. You know I don't like
Peace.
Sundays and Mondays. Good night.
Peace.
Love
right,
you
peace,
all.
y'all.
Class dismissed.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Okay, any weirdos still here, hit that like and subscribe for Mama on the way out. Don't forget to support the show with the Cash App on the block with Jen. We will see you on Tuesday unless something is really popping on Monday. Thank you for holding me down in the chat and throwing those comments in there, some of which I put on the panel. I love your feedback and your input. All right, guys, we're out. I know tonight's show was messy, as you can see, but sometimes we're not going to be structured, but you're always going to get the best dialogue from this panel. I think we were fair. I think we fought fairly. As you can see, we disagree vehemently, but we respect each other and we love each other. And that's what you're always going to see on the block with Jen, unless we get some crazy straggler or visitor that don't know how it goes down here. And even then, we try to give them grace. So with that said, good night. I am out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good night, darlings.